After what turned into a rough season for the Cardinals last year, a new coach and a fresh season have spirits as high as the geyser in Soda Springs. The Red and Black take the field this year under Cliff Garbett as he looks to build his legacy and bring glory to the Cardinal name. The game of football may not seem like one for the Birds, but these Cardinals are a different breed. Strong, quick, smart, and all brought together by one goal: victory. Let's find out together what can happen when birds of a feather flock together on the gridiron. Cardinal football is right here and right now on KBRV 800 The Bear and streaming live online at mylocalradio.com. Soda Springs football is brought to you live by these local sponsors:
Sanders Furniture, Reed's Plumbing and Heating, Silver Star Communications, Monsanto, and Old West Media.
Kickoff is just about 30 minutes away, so let's head out to the field where Caleb Burgraff will get you primed and ready for kickoff on your home for every play of Cardinal football. AM 800 KBRV, The Bear.
And everybody, I welcome you, into the Mini Dome. Caleb Burgraff here at the home of the Idaho State Bengals. But tonight, high school football is taken to the main stage as the Soda Springs Cardinals get ready to challenge the DECLO Hornets in what should be an impressive matchup between these two squads on the football field tonight. We're looking forward to bringing you this matchup between these two squads, as hopefully it turns into a better game than the first time when these two teams played. We'll get a little bit more into that when we continue on here on the pregame show on KBRV 800 The Bear, as well as online at mylocalradio.com, where you can watch a live video stream of tonight's game. We'll come back with the first portion of our pregame show on the other side of this break on your home for Soda Springs Sports.
Here are your Lalaton's food specials for the week of October 29th through November 4th. It's meat on the menu at Lalaton's, as it's the whole hog sale. Pork boneless country-style ribs, $1.49 a pound. St. Louis-style spare ribs, $2.99 a pound. And don't forget about the pork loin chops at $1.29 a pound, or get T-bone or ribeye pork chops at $1.99 a pound. It's the whole hog sale at Lalaton's in Soda Springs.
One stop and get everything on your list: gas, groceries, fresh deli items, lottery tickets, and all your fish and game licenses. Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs is locally owned and open 7 days a week. You can check the daily lunch specials every Monday through Friday on the Patterson Quick Stop Facebook page. When you need it quick, get it at Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs, 111 North Hooper. Go Cardinals!
How'd I do?
You'll get better.
Tim can't wait to be a real driver. But for now, he's king of the online track thanks to Silver Star Communications high-speed internet. Reliable, consistent speeds give him the edge against players anywhere, even the other end of the couch.
Whoa.
You'll get better.
Visit silverstar.com to learn more.
Would your business survive a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now, before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back out to the home of the Idaho State Bengals, Holt Arena, where tonight it turns to high school football as the Soda Springs Cardinals getting set to take on the DECLO Hornets in what should be a interesting matchup. The last time these two teams ended up facing off against each other, it did not end up in a bright way for the Soda Springs Cardinals. It was a 63-7 loss to the hands of the Hornets. This time around, though, Soda Springs is hoping to find a different way and a different gear to move into as they take on the Hornets. Last time, they were able to find that as they took on the undefeated Aberdeen Tigers, and they were really able to play well against Aberdeen for about a 3/4 of that game, keeping it to a 6-24 score before Aberdeen was able to put up 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Aberdeen actually scored the final 45 points that game, but Soda was able to disperse those points out over the course of that contest. Soda right now is looking at their only win on the season against Malad, a 28-8 win. Their offense really has not been the most quality offense out there. It's been a lot of inconsistencies. They move the ball well at times, and then it turns into a struggle for them to move the ball at all. That was kind of the case with DECLO. They were able to push the ball down the field several different times in that matchup until they were forced to punt the ball away or forced to give the ball away on a turnover or interceptions along those type of ways. So that is what ended up in that 63-7 loss. The other thing that happened in that loss to DECLO is DECLO was able to convert on, I believe, 4 fourth down attempts in that matchup against Soda Springs and the Cardinals, and those really were big plays as well. It wasn't like they just converted on 4th down and got 2 or 3 inches. It was 4th down, and they convert for 40 yards or so on that drive. So that is what the Cardinals have against them in this matchup here tonight, as they are looking to try and turn that around and avoid those 4th down plays and avoid what is a DECLO team that really enjoys going for it on 4th down. As far as the numbers for the last time these two teams faced off against each other, it was a 20-for-35 passing game for DECLO. They actually went 5 for 9 in the second half, or excuse me, 7 for 9 in the second half of play as well, with 313 passing yards on that night. As far as the rushing game, they also piled up 243 rushing yards on 28 attempts. Those are going to be the big test for the Soda Springs Cardinals in the game against DECLO and the Hornets. The Soda Springs Cardinals, though, they had 155 yards rushing on 31 carries and 65 yards passing on 5 of 16 in attempts, with a lot more attempts coming in the second half of that game. Their big rush and most of their yards came on a big 85-yard run by Dylan Farnes to get the Cardinals onto the scoreboard in that game, in a game that, as I said, would end up finishing at 7-63 with 70 total points being scored. The Cardinals trying to turn that around. We'll be back here on the other side of the break with one of the Cardinals players, as Hunter Bybee joined us, as he talked a little bit about what he's expecting from tonight's contest and what the Cardinals need to do better in tonight's matchup against DECLO and the Hornets. That's all coming your way on KBRV 800 The Bear, with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
There's an organization in southeast Idaho whose wildlife conservation efforts have been commended by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Idaho Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and the North American Moose Foundation. Who is this organization? It's Monsanto. While Monsanto is honored by the recognition they receive, their ongoing dedication to the environment is its own reward for all of us. Monsanto. Imagine.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
There has never been a better time to convert to natural gas. Even in the summer months, natural gas is worth asking for. Rage Plumbing and Heating in Soda Springs will replace your furnace that caused you problems this winter with a new natural gas furnace, or even install a natural gas water heater to keep your water hot. Plus, Reed's can add a water softener to your home. And if you want to cool things down, Reed's Plumbing and Heating will install an energy-efficient Lennox air conditioner. All at Reed's Plumbing and Heating, 180 South 3rd Street, Soda Springs.
Welcome back out to HOYT Arena. Caleb Berggraf here on KBRV 800 The Bear, as well as online at mylocalradio.com. As the Soda Springs Cardinals getting set to open up their playoff run, and they hope it's a deep one into this year's playoffs as they get set to take on the DECLO Hornets. Plenty more to get to here on the pregame show as we welcome you into HOYT Arena. Cardinals out on the field warming up, and one of those Cardinals is center Hunter Bybee. He is a freshman on the Soda Springs Cardinals squad, and he is hoping to really find a way to help the Cardinals break out in tonight's game. We talked with him earlier in the week about what exactly the Cardinals need to do, and we put that into our Where Are They Now subject matter as we jump into that interview right now on KBRV 800 The Bear and online at mylocalradio.com.
Caleb Berggraf with Hunter Bybee from the Soda Springs football team. And Hunter, the season so far
again, not the greatest of seasons, but you guys are in the playoffs. You have a round to move forward. How have you seen the season so far in your eyes?
This has been a big rebuilding year since we got a whole new coaching staff, and we're a pretty young team because we lost a lot of seniors last year. So compared to last year, at least we made it to playoffs this year, and I think we can still improve and go farther into the playoffs this year.
What have your thoughts been on the coaching staff this year? I mean, obviously defense, you have the same coach as you guys had last year, but a new offensive coach, a new offensive scheme. Has the transition been fairly good?
Well, the transition has been pretty hard for some of the older classmen since they have had the other coach for the last couple of years, but other than that, I think it's been pretty good. I think a lot of the players are liking the new coaching staff and how they are coaching, and everybody loves Coach Campbell's.
A lot of younger kids have gotten some playing time on the team this year. How has that been as far as for yourself as a younger kid getting up onto the team, and as well as for some of the other kids getting some experience at the varsity level this early in their careers?
Well, I think that is going to play a huge part in a couple of years since we're getting a lot of playing time as younger kids. We're going to have more experience with this varsity, and when the time comes, we'll have a really good experience when it comes to later on in the season.
You yourself have been a pretty pivotal portion of the offensive line this year. What was it like the first couple of games when you stepped into that role, and how has your confidence grown on the offensive line as the year's gone on?
The first couple of games I was really nervous since I was a sophomore on the varsity team and starting, and as you've seen in the first couple of games, I've improved a lot with my snapping and stuff like that, and I think it's going to help us a lot in these next couple of years.
Caleb Bergraff here with Hunter Bybee, and let's move off of that. Last week was senior night for you guys. How big was it to give the seniors a good game like that to go out on? The fourth quarter had some work, but for 3 quarters you stuck with an undefeated team.
I think that's really good with the seniors coming up with this next game. It's a difficult game. We already know how good these guys are because we played them earlier in the year, but I think this is going to give us a lot of confidence going in the game, and I think we'll do pretty good.
When you look at DECLO, again, you guys lost to them earlier this year. What were some of the things that you really need to improve on from that game going into this playoff game?
Not overlooking them. Before the game, everybody was saying how big they are and all that. We just got that in our mind that we're going to lose already. Another big thing is their passing game is really good, and that we need to step up on that too.
Final couple questions for you. The first one is you get to go over to the Mini Dome, get to play at HOYT Arena. How excited are you for that as a sophomore to get there this early in your career?
I think it's really cool that we get to go there first off because these seniors and juniors haven't been able to go there in the past couple of years, and I just think it's a really awesome experience that we get to do this, especially for me since I'm so young that I'm hoping to do it for 2 more years after this.
What's the goal in this game? If you look beyond the win-loss portion of this game you're going into, what's the goal of this game? What do you want to do as a team in order to look at this final game as a success?
We want to first off go 100% all 4 quarters. That's one of our main goals this year, and having everybody just go 100% and all on defense, 11 men to the ball.
Hunter, thank you so much for the time. Good luck to you guys this Friday, and hopefully you guys can come away with a victory and at least give Soda a good showing out there on the football field.
Thank you.
That was sophomore Hunter Bybee, the center of this Soda Springs Cardinals team, and I can tell you this from my experience watching him out there on the football, he has definitely grown as a player on the season. We're hoping that continues here tonight as the line has a big test in front of them. This is a DECLO team that really has a lot going for them. They have played the playoffs for each of the last 7 years and more going back after that, and they've won 2 state championships in the last 3 years, in fact winning it in 2013 and 2012 over Westside and Firth respectively. So the Cardinals a lot to do here tonight if they want to come away with a victory. We'll have our coaches show coming up on the other side of this break, brought to you by Arctic Circle and Soda Springs. That's all coming up next on KBRV 800 The Bear with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
There has never been a better time to convert to natural gas. Even in the summer months, natural gas is worth asking for. Rage Plumbing and Heating in Soda Springs will replace your furnace that caused you problems this winter with a new natural gas furnace, or even install a natural gas water heater to keep your water hot. Plus, Reed's can add a water softener to your home. And if you want to cool things down, Reed's Plumbing and Heating will install an energy-efficient Lennox air conditioner. All at Reed's Plumbing and Heating, 180 South 3rd Street, Soda Springs.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
They need your help. They're overstocked with Lazy Boy and Catnapper recliners, sofas, and love seats. They'll wheel and deal right now at Sanders Furniture, Flooring, and Appliance. If you will help them make room in their showroom, they'll help you keep money in your bank account while you're enjoying high-quality, comfortable Lazy Boy and Catnapper recliners, sofas, and love seats. They need your help, and you need to save money. Wheel and deal right now at Sanders Furniture, Flooring, and Appliances on Main Street in Soda Springs.
Welcome back out to the home of Idaho State University. Caleb Berggraf here on KBRV 800 The Bears. HOYT Arena is the site for this week's district playoff round of the state football playoffs in Idaho. And the Soda Springs Cardinals are getting ready to open it up against DECLO and the Hornets. Right now, it's time for us to jump into our coaches show. This is the Cliff Carbett pregame coaches show, brought to you by Arctic Circle in Soda Springs, where the good stuff is. No one sees the game the way the coaches do, and we're going to take a few minutes to visit with Coach Kelly Kidd, then sit down with the Cardinals head coach Cliff Carbett and get his thoughts on what his team needs to do to come away with a win this afternoon. We'll be right back after this from Arctic Circle in Soda Springs. You're listening to Soda Springs Cardinals football on KBRV 800 The Bear, with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
By choosing high-quality ingredients like Black Angus beef, French fries, and Alaskan halibut, Arctic Circle in Soda Springs makes sure you get the meal you deserve. Add one of the above-the-rim shakes and you have a meal fit for a king at a price that can feed the whole family. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or a treat after the game, stop by today and visit Renee and the team at the Soda Springs Arctic Circle on 2nd South and 1st East. It's where the good stuff is.
Caleb Berggraf joined here on the pregame show with Coach Kelly Kidd from the DECLO High School Hornets. And Coach, since the last time we've talked, a couple more games have gone down on the schedule. And how have you felt about the way your team closed out the season?
I think we finished up pretty strong. You know, we've looked forward all year to our defense actually playing to their potential, and I feel like the last two games they really have played pretty tough football and certainly shored up our weaknesses where we'd had trouble early in the year.
And that's always what you want to be doing when you get to the end of the season, is playing your best form of football. Are there any players that you didn't see in the regular season or the early part of the regular season when we had first talked that have really stepped up and you've seen extra performances out of?
Yeah, I think number 50, Gus Southern, has become a really good pass defender from the linebacker position. We inserted our quarterback at the corner, and he really helped there. He's a big kid. He's able to cover a lot of ground. So between the two of them, I think they've got a lot better. They've been able to get in some passing lanes, so I'm pretty excited, of their development throughout the year, as well as all of our corners and safeties have got better, and that was our weakness when we got started this year.
When you look at getting into the playoffs, what changes for the kids once they actually enter that playoff mentality and that playoff atmosphere?
I think a lot of it is focus. It's do or die. You're either play on or you're done for your season. So there's some finality to every game. And we watch film, and the kids have shown up in the morning. They're ready to play. The end is near, and so they become focused. And of course, you quit looking ahead. All season long, especially when we only have two teams in our league, you're always looking ahead to the playoffs. Well, the playoffs are here, so now focus one game at a time and play your best football.
Caleb Berggraf with Coach Kelly Kidd from the DECLO High School Hornets. And last time you guys played Soda, it was a 63-7 win for your team. That's a good win on the regular season, but is there any fear in the back of your head that maybe this turns into a little bit of a trap game in the first round of the playoffs, where your team did get that win so big in the regular season that they don't take Soda Springs seriously?
Yeah, absolutely. I just reminded the kids this week of Boise State going down to Utah State. On paper, should have been an easy victory for Boise. Turns out to be a whooping. So Soda's got some good athletes. They can throw the ball around, and we have to focus certainly on them, which we have. It's an environment where it's a neutral site rather than driving all the way to DECLO. So that's another touchdown or so for Soda, that they don't have to come here. I think that if their depth will allow them, they'll play an excellent game with us.
One of the things that Soda was able to do in the game against you guys is force you into a couple of fourth down situations where you guys had to go for it on fourth down. Your team was able to capitalize on those. Are you expecting to have the opportunities to go for it on fourth down like you did that time?
We really don't like to punt. It's something that we think about every time. I guess, yeah, we think about punting because our normal go-to would be let's go for it, especially if we're anywhere near midfield. We're just going to go for it and rely on our defense if we don't get it. You know, we've always been a running team, and you look at a 3-yard gain, if that's enough. If we have 4 downs, you know, our passing is a benefit to us that has changed our whole philosophy a little bit. You know, what we need on first, second, or third down, and can we get it? So you just plan on going on fourth unless, you know, we're really deep in our own territory.
Final question for you, Coach, and that's when it comes to playing at Holt Arena, getting into the dome in the first round of the playoffs instead of waiting further on. Did that help your team at all in getting in there and getting used to it, or is there a little bit of that first time playing in the dome this season that might affect your kids?
You know, we've been in the last 5 or 6 years, we've been really successful there. We're fully aware that if we were to be able to get by Soda, that there's some powerful running teams that are out there that may be interested in, you know, hosting it as their place. And so we wanted to get here just in the case that maybe if we did run the table, our kids would have a chance to be inside and experience that. And we'd love to go there. Our fans love to go there. Our kids love to be at Holt Arena. You know, and it's a long haul for Soda to come to DECLO, and so we just chose to meet there and play the game.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Good luck in tonight's game, and hopefully you guys are able to put on a good performance on the field, and I'm looking forward to calling it.
Thank you.
That was Coach Kelly Kidd of the DECLO Hornets. You're tuned into the Cliff Garbutt pregame coaches show, brought to you by Arctic Circle in Soda Springs. Our chat with Coach Garbutt of the Soda Springs Cardinals is coming up next on your home for Soda Springs football, KVRV 800 The Bear, and online at mylocalradio.com.
Here are your Lalaton's food specials for the week of October 29th through November 4th. It's meat on the menu at Lalaton's as it's the whole hog sale. Pork boneless country-style ribs, $1.49 a pound. St. Louis-style spare ribs, $2.99 a pound. And don't forget about the pork loin chops at $1.29 a pound. Or get T-bone or ribeye pork chops at $1.99 a pound. It's the whole hog sale at Lalaton's in Soda Springs.
There's an organization in southeast Idaho whose wildlife conservation efforts have been commended by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Idaho Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and the North American Moose Foundation. Who is this organization? It's Monsanto. While Monsanto is honored by the recognition they receive, their ongoing dedication to the environment is its own reward for all of us. Monsanto. Imagine.
You are into the middle of the Cliff Garbutt pregame coaches show, brought to you by Arctic Circle in Soda Springs, where the good stuff is. We'll be right back with the Coach Garbutt right after this word from Soda Springs from Arctic Circle in Soda Springs.
By choosing high-quality ingredients like Black Angus beef, French fries, and Alaskan halibut, Arctic Circle in Soda Springs makes sure you get the meal you deserve. Add one of the above-the-rim shakes, and you have a meal fit for a king at a price that can feed the whole family. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or a treat after the game, stop by today and visit Renee and the team at the Soda Springs Arctic Circle on 2nd South and 1st East. It's where the good stuff is.
Caleb Bergeraff here with Coach Cliff Garbutt from the Soda Springs football team. And Coach, last week, not a win for you guys, but as far as performances on the season, I think you can put that one up there on the list of performances you guys have had in the way that you played against Aberdeen.
Yeah, I agree with that. First 3 quarters, we played a heck of a football game. I mean, the biggest thing that hurt us, which has been the tale of the year, is the turnovers and the penalties on us. Hopefully we can continue to just clean that up a little bit. But I felt like the kids played hard, and that's what I expect. Give your best effort, and we're happy with that.
Offensively, you guys started out very strong in the game. You had a 75-yard touchdown run from Tanner Myers that was able to give you guys a 6-0 lead, and you held that lead all the way through the first quarter. In fact, they didn't score their first points until I believe it was the first couple of plays in the second quarter where they were able to actually get onto the scoreboard. When you saw that performance, what was the first thing that kind of went through your mind when you saw the score at the end of the first quarter?
I was just excited. I was just glad to see our kids came out and played with a lot of emotion. They weren't intimidated, and that's kind of what we talked about this week. It's just not to be afraid of your opponent. Respect them, but don't fear them. And I think they did that. I think they came out and they battled. They battled hard against an undefeated team, so I was proud of them.
Defensively, you also held them scoreless in the first quarter. We talked about that. You also held them to just a field goal in the third quarter of that game, and you were doing it with a fairly beat-up team once again. A lot of your starters weren't in that game at that point in time, and some of your normal starters weren't in that game just due to some injury problems that you guys have been having the last couple of weeks. Who are some of the younger kids that really stepped up in that first 3 quarters that you were impressed with, that really kind of caught your notice?
Our line is what really impressed me. When we actually did throw the ball, we had better protection than what we've had all season. Our biggest deal is we were either off on some throws or we dropped some. One of them, a hitter guy, I think our line did a lot better job, and we do have some young kids on that line, and I think they did a good job this week.
Moving on to next week, you guys are going to be taking on DECLO this week in the first round of the state playoffs. It's the playing round, so technically not part of the quote-unquote playoffs. But when you look at DECLO, you've played them already this year. How big was getting that game and that performance against Aberdeen and getting ready to go and take on DECLO when they're a team that beats you fairly badly when you went to their place?
It's an awesome opportunity. We're excited to have this opportunity to extend our season. We're not done. Today I'm talking to you and we're getting ready for a football game, and we get another chance to try and improve against a team that did beat us up pretty bad, and hopefully we can do something about that and play a little better than we did the last game and not be intimidated by them.
One of the cool things about this week is you guys get to end up going to HOYT Arena. You get to play on turf. How big of an opportunity is that for the kids, and what was your reaction when you saw that on the schedule that you guys were going to get to go to HOYT?
Oh, we're excited about it. Super excited. I know when I played here at Soda, when we got the chance to go to HOYT Arena, that was a big deal. So hopefully it'll be a big deal to our kids as well, and they'll be fired up and want to continue to get there in the future.
Final couple questions for you, Coach, and the big one is when you have that last benchmark against DECLO, how big is that in being able to tell your kids, look, this is the goal, to play better than this week, than going in fresh against a team that you haven't played before, especially in a game like this where it is still getting that extra playing time at the end of the season and you want to see how much you've progressed on the year?
That's what we want to see. That's the great thing here is we do kind of have a benchmark because we played them once already, and now we got an opportunity to play them again. So we'll be able to see if we made those improvements from the last time we played them and see if we can clean up some of the things that we didn't do so well in that game.
One of the big things that you struggled with against DECLO in that game was stopping them on some of their 4th down conversions. And that's my final question for you is what do you need to do in order to get those stops, to clean up some of those stops that resulted in scores for them in order to get and stay closer in this game against DECLO this time around?
Just got to be able to stop the deep ball. That was a lot of deep balls on us. We had, I think, 3 where we just got beat over the top. Scores there. So we got to be able to stop the run first and then the deep ball over the top.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for the time. I'm looking forward to watching your game on Friday against DECLO over at HOYT Arena, and hopefully a lot of the fans from Soda go on and cheer you on.
All right. Thanks, Caleb. We're excited to be there too.
That was Coach Cliff Garbett in the pregame coaches show, brought to you by Soda Arctic Circle in Soda Springs. The Cardinals running out onto the field as we are just about set for our broadcast tonight between the Soda Springs Cardinals and the DECLO Hornets. In the second meeting of the season between these two teams, we're going to take a break, come back with starters as well as the opening kick, brought to you by the 3C Grill and Grace on KBRV 800 The Bear and online with live video streaming at mylocalradio.com.
Cattlemen have a code of ethics. Live each day with courage. Take pride in your work. Always finish what you start. Do what has to be done. Be tough but fair. When you make a promise, keep it. Ride for the brand. Talk less and say more. Remember that some things aren't for sale and know where to draw the line. The folks at Mound Valley Cattle Company in Thatcher, Idaho are proud of the students at Grace High School, investing in the leaders of tomorrow. The Mound Valley Cattle Company, 208-339-0614.
One stop and get everything on your list. Gas, groceries, fresh deli items, lottery tickets, and all your fish and game licenses. Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs is locally owned and open 7 days a week. You can check the daily lunch specials every Monday through Friday on the Patterson Quick Stop Facebook page. When you need it quick, get it at Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs, 111 North Hooper. Go Cardinals! MyLocalRadio.com is Southwest Wyoming and Northeast Utah's top website and the best source for local area news, weather, sports, and community events. And that's not all. MyLocalRadio.com features thousands of photographs of Wyoming and Utah high school events, from speech and drama competitions to local events, sports and activities, and much more. Check it out today and see what MyLocalRadio.com has for you.
Welcome back out to the home of the Idaho State Bengals as the DECLO Hornets on the center of the field after being introduced with their starting lineups. The Cardinals on their far side of the field, as those watching online at KB or at mylocalradio.com/Soda Springs can view. Please join us there if you haven't already. It's a great treat for you guys to be able to watch the game instead of just listen to it over the air, and you still have the same voice coming over your video screen, just like you have right now on the airwaves. And right now it's time for us to jump into starting lineups for tonight's matchup as the two teams meet at center field. The captains for the DECLO Hornets look like this, as it is going to be number 5, Braxton Webb, number 6, Sam Darrington, that is number 6, Ezra Bailey, number 11, their big quarterback, Calvin Miles, and wrapping it all up is number 3, Colin Carpenter. For the Soda Springs Cardinals, their captains are Devin Adams, Dylan Farnes, as well as Morgan Steele and Jake Morrison, or Ridge Thompson, out there as well. Those are the 4 captains. The coin toss happening out at the middle of the field right now. We'll wait for the conclusion of that before we give you guys any more.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I believe Ridge Thompson's jersey is on Logan Mumford tonight. They've made a change that way. They almost didn't have enough jerseys tonight. So I was told earlier on that was one change you might want to know. That
Thank you
he's
so much.
Wearing that. So.
And that gives us a chance to bring in as well my color man and
Hi,
cameraman,
how's it going?
Ben Jacobson. Sorry for keeping you out of the broadcast
no
for this
deal.
long, but it's good to be here tonight, as right now it looks like the Cardinals are going to kick off to DECLO and the Hornets, who are going to receive on the right side of the field from where we are above the fans, or on the far side of the field from the fans here at HOYT Arena, as the two sides getting set to take to the field. And that opening kickoff is going to be brought to you by the 3C Grill and Grace. Burgers, pizza, and barbecue, all for you at the 3C Grill in Grace. 12 minutes up on the scoreboard. And the Cardinals getting set to try and open up the playoffs with a good defensive stand now. It looks like as the defense will get out there onto the field, so we'll take a look at those defensive starters for the Cardinals to start things off. They are going to have Tanner Myers out there wearing the number 2. He's going to be a linebacker for the Cardinals. And Ben, correct me if I'm wrong on any of these as we move on through this list, as again, some jersey changes as well as different players with injuries along those lines. Devin Adams will be out there as a linebacker, as will Logan Mumford. Dylan Farnes will be out there as a linebacker and a defensive back. Grant Clegg will be playing defensive back for the Cardinals. Christopher Lloyd, a defensive back, wearing the number 27. Logan Mumford out there, as I said, wearing the number 10. Branson Steiner wears the number 57 on the D-line. Matthew Smith, Hunter Bybee, and Caden Brown wrap up the defense for the Soda Springs Cardinals as they get set to kick this one away. Left to right, ball is being handed to Devin Adams at the 40-yard line by one of our officials in tonight's officiating crew. And with the officiating crew, we'll get to them as they take their spots. It's Luis, and I apologize if I butcher his name, Esquizia, Kyle Fulmer, Ren Thomas, Don Garner, and Steve Latta. Whistle blows. Adams gets set to move it left to right with the black and red socks, runs up, kicks it off, and it's a good one. It's going to drive the DECLO kicker back to the end zone, into the end zone. And if you're the Cardinals, that is a great way to start it off. You can tell a little bit of extra adrenaline out there, but driving the DECLO Hornets all the way back into the Idaho State words in the end zone back there.
He definitely had a little adrenaline going. I'm not sure we've had him kick off into the end zone this year that I remember seeing.
I don't think so. Part of it may be no wind tonight. Part of it may be the turf. You don't know, but definitely a great way to start for the Cardinals and showing they're definitely into this game as the Hornets will come out in an offset wing T formation. Miles takes the ball. He's going to hand this one off to the left side of the formation. Struggling up ahead for 4 yards is going to be
that 34, that junior.
Tyler Matthews as the ball carrier there. As we take a look at the rest of the offense for the DECLO Hornets, Colin Carpenter, Braxton Webb, Ezra Bailey, and Hunter Olson, as well as Calvin Miles, will be the main players to be carrying the football in tonight's contest. As 2nd and 6 comes up and the Hornets will approach the line of scrimmage once again. Miles, quick snap count, is going to give it off to the right side. This time bouncing it around that edge is going to be Keegan Duncan, and he's going to dive for the first down. Looks like he has it at the 30-yard line, a 6-yard carry, and it's 2 plays and a first down for DECLO and the Hornets, but not big chunks of yardage like they were able to get the first time they played Soda.
played pretty well. They need to, both times they've met the guy a little sooner, and, if they can continue to do that and make some early tackles, they might get a good turnover on downs.
Ball at the 30-yard line, far side hash mark. DECLO working right to left, 2 back, stand behind Miles. He's going to give this one a little bit of reverse to the near side, getting to the corner, but being tripped up and taken down on the near sideline is going to be that same carrier, Keegan Duncan, I believe. No, that is actually Braxton Webb with the carry there, and I believe it was Webb with the carry the first time as well. Either way, it's a gain of 4 yards, 2nd down and 6 upcoming. On the tackle on the near side, it looked like that was Christopher Lloyd again. And I tell you what, as far as defensive specialist this year, he has been very good for the Cardinals. Another snap, ball is handed off again to the near side, and a short gain fighting his way forward for what looks to be another 4-yard carry to the 39-yard line. This time is going to be Ronnie Kincaid, who comes up off the bottom of the pile.
Boy, they had him right there to begin with, and he just got a good spin move, and everybody else gang tackled him was there, but boy, if he'd made that first tackle, we'd have him right at the line of scrimmage. That was pretty good defense.
3rd down, 2 yards to go. Ball just inside the 40-yard line. It's going to be a pitch outside. Out there to break it up is going to be Steele, but it's going to be a good block put on to Steele out there by Ronnie Kincaid that frees out Braxton Webb to the right side. And that actually is Keegan Duncan to that side, who got that first carry as well. So 4 carriers for the ball, and that moves the ball upwards of 7 yards down the field on that carry.
That freshman's going to be their workhorse for a lot of years to come.
They'll come back up to the line of scrimmage with Miles under center. That wing T formation off on the far side of the field. Hands the ball off. Straight up the gut is going to be the cutback that time, and gaining about 4 yards is Ronnie Kincaid once again on that carry. They'll mark him just across the 50-yard line. Still on that far side hash mark. Brings up a 2nd down. Call it 5.5 yards to go for DECLO and the Hornets. Another good carry there up the gut by Kincaid. But the Cardinals defense, again, they aren't giving up any big gashes right now in the running game, which is what you hope to see. 9:21 to go here, first quarter of play. A man in motion, a flag flies early, and I believe this one's going to be a false start on DECLO, as they did send that man in motion. I believe the one called for it is going to be Wyatt Homer, who was in motion from left to right on the formation. I think he went forward before the snap started instead of going and lining himself up.
Do you think Wyatt Fulmer and the Fulmer F are related?
One's got 2 L's, one's got 1.
Oh,
so
much
you hope
different.
They're not.
Definitely the difference.
9 minutes and 11 seconds as the clock winds. 2nd down and a long 10 yards to go. Ball's in between the 45 and 46-yard lines on the DECLO side of the field. The officials allowing one of the Cardinals to tie their shoes. And I'm not seeing the number, as it looks like actually
Caden Brown,
that's
I believe.
Caden Brown. You're correct. I saw the 9, couldn't catch that front end of the number.
They're hard to see from up here.
Either way, everyone's set into position. Still that wing T far side of the formation is going to be a fake handoff. Miles going to pass, has a man short, dumps it off to his receiver, and turning on the Jets deep into Cardinal territory across the 25 is Braxton Webb. And goes all the way to the 22-yard line on a 32-yard pass and catch. And good defense by the Cardinals. Just Webb was able to find himself a spot in the middle of that defense. It was not a bad defended play, but it gives up 32 yards, and the Cardinals find themselves almost in the red zone on the defensive side. Another snap, pitch out to the outside of the ball, and that's going to be towards it. A holding penalty is going to come down, so the touchdown that was just scored most likely is going to be coming back, as Braxton Webb Duncan took it around the right side, but there's a flag down at the 24-yard line on the far side, right to where the play went. And
little too much twist and pull on that block. Definitely had his hands outside and turned Morgan and threw him down. It was a good call there, I think.
Ends up being a costly penalty for DECLO and the Hornets, as 10 yards from the spot of the foul is going to march them back 12 yards on that penalty. Good break for the Cardinals, though, which you like to see, and it's going to make it a 2nd down and call it 22 yards to go at the 34-yard line.
Probably see some passing out of here now with it long like this.
Cardinals come up. They're going to bring 4 as a head delayed blitz. A rush to the near side. Cutting it back into the middle is going to be Webb. Now pulls back around the near side and is taken down at the 26-yard line. Finally stopped on the play again by Grant Clegg, who gets his name into the scorebook. It makes it a 2nd down and 14 to go now. So Cardinals give up some yards, but they still keep it double digits on the 2nd down play and give your defense a little bit of a chance after what turns into a 7-yard run. See what the Hornets decide to come up with next. Near side hash mark, working right to left. It's going to be another passing play for Miles on the run. Throws this one across his body, too far over the head of his receiver. Morgan Steele, playing defense on the play, was there anyway to break it up. I don't know if it would have been a completed pass anyways. The intended receiver was Sam Darrington over on that right, or excuse me, there's 2 6s there, so I keep saying Sam Darrington. It's Ezra Bailey over on that right side. Either way, it's going to be down, and it goes as a 3rd down and 13 yards to go with 7 minutes and 35 seconds on this big clock on either end of the field. Cardinals defense needing a big stop here, although this is a Hornets team that you heard in the pregame show does not like to go for or does not like to punt the ball or not take it on 4th down. They'll do a little screen, bubble screen to the near side. Well defended by the Cardinals as they had several people into the face of Hunter Olsen. Olsen is able to gain 5 yards on the reception, but it still keeps it a long 4th down at 4th and 8.
Sorry, I kind of missed that one. I was watching it live, not on the camera. I'll try and do a little better there for anybody watching at home.
It can happen a lot easier than you think, as DECLO looking like they're going to go for it here. Big chance for the Cardinals to gain some momentum about halfway through this first quarter of play. It'll be a 5 wide receiver set, 3 wide receivers out to the far right of the formation. Cardinals line up in a man defense, it looks like, as they're going to snap the ball to Miles. Looks over to the near side, throws this one up for the end zone, into the hands and completed as he pulls that one in. That's Ezra Bailey pulling it in from 20 yards out. A touch pass that was right on the money. Good defense again by the Cardinals, but we've seen it before with this DECLO team.
Well, they converted a lot of 4th downs down in DECLO just like that. Just we had opportunities and just couldn't get them on the field, and unfortunately that was the case there. We're trying a little bit more of a man defense tonight instead of the zone to try and tighten that coverage up a little bit, and it was there.
A good pass, a good play. The defense was good by the Cardinals as an extra point attempt coming up. Hold is good, snap is good, and the kick is good as punching it through. Tanner Schroeder gets the extra point on the PAT. We'll take a break, come back with the resumption of the first quarter of play, 7-0 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard with 6:46 to go in the first quarter of play. The Hornets lead Soda Springs and the Cardinals on KBRV 800 The Bear and online at mylocalradio.com.
Here are your Lalaton's food specials for the week of October 29th through November 4th. It's meat on the menu at Lalaton's as it's the whole hog sale. Pork boneless country style ribs $1.49 a pound. St. Louis style spare ribs $2.99 a pound. And don't forget about the pork loin chops at $1.29 a pound, or get T-bone or ribeye pork chops at $1.99 a pound. It's the whole hog sale at Lalaton's in Soda Springs.
Welcome back out to the home of the Idaho State Bengals, but the Bengals not in action on this Friday night. It is instead the DECLO Hornets taking on the Soda Springs Cardinals. DECLO able to march the ball down the field in 5 minutes and 14 seconds, helped along by their passing game, which they got them 57 yards on 4 passing attempts in that first quarter of play. Cardinals defense did play fairly well, but a very good quarterback they're going against who can spot his ball, as this one's going to be a little popped up kick. It drops at the 35-yard line, and the Cardinals will jump onto it at the 33-yard line as Mumford is going to jump onto the football. And that's where Soda Springs is going to take over with their first drive. And offensively, the Cardinals, you have to come out and you have to fix a lot of those mistakes that you've been making so far early on in drives. Not necessarily early in drives, but late in drives. Once you start getting some momentum, not shooting yourselves in the foot is going to be a big key for them in this game. It'll be Adams in that pistol formation. He'll stand at the 30-yard line on the near side hash mark. Ball in between the 33 and 34-yard line. Good snap. Bubble screen to the near side. It's going to be passed to Chris Lloyd, and he's blown up on the near side for a loss of 3 yards on the pass play. DECLO was all over that play. Nowhere to go. On the loss of 3, it'll be second down and 13 to go for Soda Springs from the near side hash mark once again.
Very sure tackle there.
And that's exactly what you were looking for if you're DECLO. On side for the Soda Springs Cardinals, it was just too many men for them to go against. There were 3 defenders, only one blocker out front in front of Chris Lloyd. It'll be that same formation. They'll send Tanner Myers into motion right to left. Good snap to Adams. It's going to be a lob pass out to Myers, who can't pull in the pass on the far sideline. He had a first down. It wasn't going to go for a touchdown as Colin Carpenter was there, but the ball dropped off his hands. And I think it's safe to say that Myers heard footsteps on that one and saw Carpenter coming.
Might have glanced up there to see where it was coming, but he was wide open. That was definitely a first down completion if he just can hang on to that, and he will. It'll be there again, and we'll keep trying.
You like the fact that the Cardinals got that open look, though, in that first possession, as it's better to at least have a chance to gain yards. Give yourselves a little bit of confidence moving forward. Still have another chance here on 3rd down and 13 from the 30-yard line. Left to right, though, move. Tanner Myers goes into motion once again up the middle of the field. They'll come near side, and Morgan Steele with the ball. Can't pull it in. Pushed outside at the 43-yard line, and it's going to end up being a 3-and-out for the Soda Springs Cardinals. And again, in the hands, Morgan Steele's got to pull that pass in too.
Yeah, I believe he'd have been a yard short, but at the same time, as he did get it in his hands, he was hit immediately. What's the penalty flag? Probably a holding as well.
It's going to be illegal use of the hands
against DECLO.
And that is going to give the Cardinals some extra yardage as the Hornets, unlike what happened in the first time, are hurting themselves and putting themselves into bad positions. This should be
that'll replay 3rd down, won't it?
I believe a 5-yard penalty and replay 3rd down. Either that or a 10-yard penalty and replay 3rd down, as they mark it from the spot of the foul, I assume?
I think so, yeah.
So it is a spot foul. They're going to march this one forward. And it goes to the 15-yard penalty up to the 41-yard line. And the Cardinals catching a big, big break. As
that's a yard short of where it would have been completed, isn't it?
It is. It ends up helping the Cardinals as it's 3rd down and 2 after the 15-yard penalty. Adams takes the snap in the shotgun, hands the ball off to the near side. Cardinals will hand the ball off. It's going to be a stop near the first down. It'll depend on the marker as the ball came out late, but I believe it was well after forward progress. The DECLO fans and the DECLO team on this side want the ball, but
boy, they're flipping out. That was way after the forward progress was stopped. That's the easiest call in the book.
6 yards after he had gotten stopped. They'll put the ball at the nose at the 43-yard line, just short of a first down by inches. And an interesting decision here for the Cardinals. It's a very short play. Do you go for it? Do you punt the ball away?
Oh, that's. I'm glad he's making the decision because that way we can second guess anything he does, right?
Exactly. That's our job up here, is to make sure that he gets held accountable. Cardinals will go for it. I like the decision, though, early on in this game from where you're at in the field with halfway gone, as they're going to bring up. It's going to be a quick pass out to the far side, a diving reception over the middle of the field, pulling it in. I believe Chris Lloyd able to draw that one into his body, and it goes as a gain of 6 yards. And you talk about the drop passes.
He had to stretch out for that, didn't he?
Talk about the drop passes, had to stretch out and jump in front of a DECLO Hornet.
Well, I think Coach Garbett called that one fairly well. Definitely DECLO was set up there for a run play up the middle, and when Devin Adams come under center, I think they thought it was quarterback sneak all the way, so that defensive back was not playing as close as he would have normally.
Cardinals get the first down, get to run some more offense. 1st and 10 from near midfield. Ball snapped to Adams. It's going to be a handoff up the gut. Farnes drops his head down and is going to be taken down at the 48-yard line of DECLO. It's a gain of 3 yards, and that is actually Logan Mumford getting the carry on that one, as Mumford gets his first carry of the game. And he's taken over the starting running back duties, it seems, for the Cardinals, which after the year he had on JV, a very solid year down at that level.
Well, Farnes has been hurt is the main thing. He didn't practice this week. He He might be, able to play here some snaps in certain situations, though, for us today.
Another snap here as Adams is going to send Myers into motion once again, right to left. Good snap to Adams, fakes the handoff to Mumford. It's going to be a reverse to Myers, cuts his way upfield, but good defense played by the Hornets. The first one in the backfield was Riley Anderson. Myers was able to avoid him on the near side, but Braxton Webb came up to finish the job and made a very sure tackle.
It looks to me like they were just, that hurt them earlier on in the year, you know, that play right there to the outside, and I think they're watching that very closely, wouldn't you say?
I would agree, as they've really been paying attention. The first play, even on that bubble screen out to Chris Lloyd, they were right there up at the line of scrimmage on those outside plays. 3 minutes, 9 seconds to go. Clock winds. Myers again will go into motion as it's 3rd down and 9 to go. Adams looks over to the near side, throws one, tried to squeeze it into a window of a double-covered Morgan Steele. Couldn't find any of the gray jersey of Steele, and it drops to the Herf. Brings up a 4th down and 10 yards to go from just inside Soda Springs territory. And right there, just good defense played by DECLO. There was nobody open if you looked across the field.
No, not much to it. And he had to get rid of it quick, too, or there would have been pressure coming immediately thereafter.
Cardinals will pump, but they are able to move the ball to midfield, so it should change the position of the field as a flag will come out. Whistle blows. This one in the defensive backfield. And it's 12 men on the field for the Hornets. So the Hornets are going to cost themselves another 5 yards.
Oh, big mistake.
And the Cardinals are going to be able to move that one up to just shy of the 45-yard line of the Hornets.
Isn't illegal participation like that 10 yards?
Might be 10 yards. No, they're going to move it 5. So it's
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Either way, the Hornets already up to 32 penalty yards in the first quarter of play with 3:01 to go. And at the ball, it's 4th down and call it a long 5. Punting again are the Cardinals. Good snap. And a good kick is going to come off the foot of Tanner Myers. It's going to be fielded at the 8-yard line, coming to the near side, and putting on the Jets is going to be Webb. He's taken down at the 30, holding the ball out a little bit. The Cardinals trying to strip it away as he went down to the field, and it's going to stop him at the 32-yard line on the near side, and that's where DECLO is going to take over on their second possession of the game after scoring a touchdown on their first one. But the Cardinals defense, to their credit, after giving up that touchdown, was able to force DECLO to really earn it.
I noticed the number on that was a lineman, and he did a good job of stopping his feet, breaking down, and making a sure tackle there on a fast kid. That was a nice job. I believe it was Riley Harris, and then freshman Jacob Housley was there to help.
2:45 to go. Hornets come out in a power I formation to the right side. Miles drops back to pass, throws one out to the far side, and it's going to be in and out of the hands of a touchdown as Colin Carpenter couldn't pull that one into his body, and it goes as an incomplete pass. But the Cardinals defense, it looked like Morgan Steele stopped running with him as soon as the ball got put up in the air.
It was Logan Mumford trying to help out from the middle linebacker position, and he turned and looked back at that ball, and it was already in the air, and he never saw it coming. And so he did a good job to even be out there and see that that's where he needed to be, but just missed where the ball was coming from.
And picking on the youngster at that route too, as Mumford, a freshman out there for the Cardinals. This one's going to be an option pitch out to the far side. Cardinals are going to have a man blown up as Steele gets destroyed by a block by Braxton Webb. It goes as a gain of just shy of 20 yards, call it 18 across the 50-yard line, as another big carry by Keegan Duncan. He's got 3 carries now for 31 yards in the game. And I'll tell you what, that was all set up by the block of Webb.
Great block.
Steele was ready for him, and Steele just got put onto his derriere.
Yeah, but still gives up, 50 pounds there?
Mm-hmm.
And he still took it, and he's still in there fighting. I like to see that grit.
7-0, 2:19 to go. Hornets will send a man into motion left to right. It's going to be another fake handoff as Miles is going to give this one up to the fullback Webb. Nobody knew he had the football, and he's going to sprint his way into the end zone with a 49-yard touchdown run for the Hornets. Even I didn't know where the ball was on that one. That just kind of ended up coming out of the formation. You looked and see everybody that got a chance to get the ball on that one. I think the Cardinals got just as confused.
Yeah, that's that quick hitter to the fullback. You see it a lot in a double wing type of a set, or in this case, the way they run the double wing there. Just you get watching that handoff in the backfield, and all of a sudden you realize he turned around and handed it to the first guy instead of the second.
And it's a big, big run by Braxton Webb for his first touchdown. And it's going to be an extra point upcoming. A flag comes out from the far side of the field, and this one looks to be, again, a false start on this will be defensive encroachment, and that is going to bring out the offense once again for DECLO and the Hornets as they're going to go for 2.
They get set, and then they throw that hand down, and it looks like a whole bunch of motion and things going on across that front line, and it tricks the defenders at times, and it tricked them there too.
So it looks like the Hornets are going to go for 2 now, as it is now about 1.5 yards to get the first down or get the touchdown. They'll do that wing T formation. It'll be a handoff straight up the gut. Braxton Webb into the end zone, and that is going to make it a 15-0 score. DECLO on top with 2:06 to go in the first quarter of play. We'll take another break, come back with more on KBRV 800 The Bear with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com, live from Holt Arena.
There's an organization in southeast Idaho whose wildlife conservation efforts have been commended by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Idaho Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and the North American Moose Foundation. Who is this organization? It's Monsanto. While Monsanto is honored by the recognition they receive, their ongoing dedication to the environment is its own reward for all of us. Monsanto. Imagine.
Welcome back out to the home of Idaho State at Holt Arena, but the Cardinals and DECLO and the Hornets out on the field right now as the two sides in the first round, the play-in round of the 2A state playoffs, and right now it's been all DECLO, although the Cardinals have had a couple of bright spots that have come across in this game, and if it hadn't been for that 49-yard touchdown run and a big 32-yard pass in the first drive that the Hornets had, again, the big play is just burning this Cardinals defense. That's the only reason that they have not been able to keep themselves in this game.
One of our watchers just texted me and said our outside contain has been taken advantage of a couple times, and we'll see if we can do anything to stop that and get that a little better.
Have a scoring update for you as soon as this kick is going to be delivered. It's a high popped-up kick that's going to be picked up by DECLO. Nobody on the Cardinals fielded it. It dropped right in front of Dima Kimball, and Kimball just let it hit the turf and picked up by the Hornets and Tyler Matthews, and that's just lack of awareness by Soda Springs giving up a football, and
he knew it immediately that he had to field that ball, and he just didn't have time to react to it.
As a high pop-up kick works to DECLO's favor, they're going to get the ball at the 42-yard line where it was picked up with 2:04 left to go on the big board as they're looking to try and ice the Cardinals away early in this game. They'll come up to the line of scrimmage with 3 wideouts, and a fullback missing is coming back out as Tyler Matthews. They'll be in that power I formation with the fullback to the right side of the halfback who stands at the 47-yard line. Miles drops back to pass, floats one out to the far side. It's going to be punched out of the hands of the receiver as Ezra Bailey was covered on the far side by Morgan Steele. He let Bailey catch the football and then automatically punched a hand up into it.
Yeah, they worked on that a little bit in practice, but that was excellent. They knew he couldn't jump with him in height-wise, so they knew they had to get the ball out as he brings it down and tries to tuck it away. So that was a good job by Steele there.
Fabulous play by the junior on the outside as DECLO will come up to the line of scrimmage again, 2nd down and 10. Same formation, 2 wideouts to the near side. Miles looks to this side, looking deep. He's going to float one up, and it's going to be picked off. Tanner Myers pulls it down at the 20. He's got blockers in front. He reverses field to the far side, has a couple of men to beat. He's got the speed to get it into DECLO territory before being taken down at the 43-yard line. A late flag comes out, but the Cardinals defense strikes with a 47-yard interception return into Hornet territory to the 43-yard line by Tanner Myers.
3 different flags out there. There's one back here in the middle. There's one I think was a block in the back, but then there's one right there at the out-of-bounds area too.
Everything is after the interception, so the Cardinals will have the ball no matter what. I think the one at the out-of-bounds area is going to be either a face mask or a late hit, as that was Myers being taken down out of the play, and there was really no one else but DECLO Hornets around at that point in time. I believe the block in the back, you're correct, at the 37-yard line. Not sure what the one that's in the middle of the field at the 45-yard line is going to be.
I'm afraid it might be a late hit, too, and that might be on us.
Block in the back on the Cardinals. A horse collar on DECLO and the Hornets. And I believe the penalties are going to offset.
I think they
as that's
might
40, that
march one off and then the other and then give us the ball and then go for and then march the other one off, because it's a dead ball foul with a horse collar kind of a situation and a personal foul. So there's your 10 yards blocking the back, and now they'll turn around and march 15 coming back this way.
So that will put the Cardinals in the end of all that at their own 41-yard line. And a good break here for Soda Springs as it puts them right where DECLO was starting off that last drive, and right where they would have started off the drive after the kickoff.
Right, yeah. Makes up for the mistake of not getting the football here where they need to put this drive together.
So Myers gets, I believe, his second interception of the year. Adams will bring the offense back out, 1st and 10, working left to right, first quarter of play. 15-0 DECLO, quarterback draw has Adams breaking out into the middle of the open field, has room down the sidelines, one man to beat down the side, and Adams is going to be finally taken down inside the 10. Devin Adams took the ball in the quarterback keeper on the delayed draw. Nobody was ready for it.
We talked about them setting up outside, and then that's the result of it if they're watching that jet sweep so much. How many yards did he get there?
50-yard carry up ahead to the 8-yard line where they mark him out of bounds, and the Cardinals with 1:29 to go looking to jump right back into this game.
Great blocking there and some good crowd cheering, really getting into it.
Adams will line up under or in the pistol, 2 wideouts to each side. They'll send a man into motion. Snap goes over the head of Adams, and we've seen this before. If you're Soda Springs, the Cardinals, Adams will jump onto it at the 31, and as always, it seems like for the Cardinals, right when they have a great play, something happens, but there is a late flag that comes flying out at the 26-yard line. And we'll hope this is not against the Cardinals
they're pointing at 50 there about pulling him back so he can't get the ball recovered there, so maybe it's a defensive holding.
And if it is, that would be a huge help to the Cardinals, as that would move it back up to the 11 or the 15-yard line.
Heck, anything would be good if it's on them. Oh, I hate to see that. That just makes you sick to be down there and having some momentum. And I guess
Hunter Bybee just probably a little bit too amped up after the. I mean, that's all it looked like. It's a hold against the Cardinals. And that is going to move them back not only the 23 yards of the loss, but also another 10 yards back to the 41-yard line, which makes it 2nd down and goal from the 41.
Must have been us holding them from getting to the ball or something.
Either way, a huge loss. As I said, Adams is going to get tagged with a 23-yard loss that he should not have gotten tagged with. Good snap this time. Adams drops back, time to throw. Is going to lob one out deep, and nobody running towards the sideline. As a little bit of miscommunication between the wide receivers on the far side of the field. Myers was there as well as was, I believe, Grant Clegg.
22, yeah.
22. And that is going to end up going as an incomplete pass. And DECLO is going to have a 3rd down and 41 yards to defend this time against the Cardinals. 15-0. Cardinals trailing here with 1:08 to go, but they've had some very, very good plays against DECLO. Just a couple of bad plays that have shot them backwards. It'll be another twin formation set up for the Cardinals. Adams in that pistol, takes a snap, drops back, pressure in his face almost automatically. He's going to hurl one towards the far sideline, and it's going to be off the hands of Myers, who was at about the 15-yard line on the far sideline where he got pushed out of bounds, but he couldn't get the ball in. And
what if he'd have ran that, though? There was a lot of yardage in front of him there.
I was thinking the same thing, and you at least get it into a possible field goal range situation if you do that. So it'll actually be 3rd down and 41 after the holding penalty was taken.
I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, I got a lot of yardage to make up there. I got to throw this ball. So I don't fault him. I'm just saying that we'd be maybe a little closer with a run there. And it looked like he could have picked up 10, 15 yards.
Even
pretty
more
easy.
than that possibly with his athletic ability. Only a couple guys on that side of the field, and the open side of the field at that. Near side hash mark, 3rd down, 41 to go. Myers goes into motion across the formation. It's going to be Adams lobbing one up for the near side. This one's going to be picked off at the 31-yard line. Coming up with the interception, Ezra Bailey. Morgan Steele did a great job turning offensive player into defensive player and taking down Bailey without giving him any extra yardage. But the interception gives DECLO the football at the 32-yard line on the 8th passing attempt for Devin Adams.
The defensive rush got there and I think might have hit his arm. He couldn't follow through and throw that quite the way he wanted to. I guess in this case it's kind of like a punt situation. Got a few yards back.
So it'll give the DECLO Hornets the ball with 53 seconds to go now, first quarter. It'll be a handoff up the middle. That quick hitter again and getting tripped up is going to be Braxton Webb at the 43-yard line. That'll end up going as a gain of about 13 yards for Webb on his 4th carry of the day. He's already up to 73. 15-0. The Cardinals down by a pair of scores. Could be a lot worse for the Cardinals right now in this game, but they've been able to keep themselves close in the matchup against the Hornets.
I feel like they're battling pretty hard and giving a good effort.
It'll be the Hornets coming up, Twins over to the far side. Another snap goes into the hands of Miles, drops back, avoids the rush, and throws one deep down the field on the money. But Colin Carpenter, for the second time, can't pull it in. That was a deep pass of 45 yards in the
hit
air.
Him right in the hands, too.
And you shake your head if you're a Hornet fan on that one, after him not being able to pull that one in. And I think, again, you just see the quality of skill that comes from this Calvin Miles kid, who was a starter at a 5A school in Utah before he came up here to play for DECLO.
Yeah, and they're just absolutely picking on our little bit height advantage there.
There'll be another 10 yards to try and go. Second down and 10. Miles drops back, throws one this time up and over the head on the far sideline this time, as Wyatt Homer went out for the ball there, and it goes over his head. So back-to-back incompletions. And right now, it seems like Calvin Miles, he's been on the money a couple times, but a lot of his passes have not necessarily been right where you want them to be. So with 3rd down and 10, we'll see what the Hornets decide to draw up here at the 43-yard line.
They put a little different personnel package in. If they run the ball on here, that might be something we can watch.
Out of the game came Ronnie Kincaid as well as Wyatt Homer, as they'll come out with a quads on the near side, empty backfield around Miles. Takes a snap, drops back, quick throw to the near side. Kit as he throws, ball floated up into the air and picked into the hands of Keegan Duncan, who takes it all the way to the house for a 56-yard touchdown pass, and the first touchdown of the game for Keegan Duncan on the play. And that is how the first quarter is going to come to a close, too, with only 13 seconds left.
I like that we finally got some pressure on the quarterback, though, and at least made him pay for sitting back there a little extra longer. Our pass rush has been a little bit behind at times, but at least they got him thinking about that throw next time.
And like you said, I mean, that was good to see from the Cardinals. As another PAT coming up, Tyler Schloter is going to have a good hold in front of him, puts the ball up, and that is good, sailing through the uprights, and it makes it a 22-0 score. The Cardinals trailing to DECLO here in the first round of the 2A state play-in round on KBRV 800 The Bear, with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
Would your business survive a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now, before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back out to Holt Arena. Caleb Burgraff here alongside Ben Jacobson. And Ben, right now the Soda Springs Cardinals have been punched in the mouth a couple of times, but they're still standing. 22-0 is the score, and really it's only been because of the big plays that DECLO's been able to throw out there onto the field.
Yeah, they do a good job, and they can hurt you in different ways. I mean, their big plays will come running, their big plays will come around the edge, their big plays will come down deep, and they're a good football team.
So a kickoff upcoming once again. High kick popped up into the air. This one's going to be fielded by Dima Kimball, and he is going to, the whistles blow as Kimball had a fair catch, I believe.
He did fair catch it, but I don't know whether the refs recognized it.
I heard a whistle from the near sideline as the ref heard it, and they're going to put the ball, I believe, at the 33-yard line, in between the 33 and the 34-yard line for the Cardinals, where they'll take over with 11 seconds left to go in the first quarter of play, 22-0. They're trailing to DECLO and the Hornets here in the first quarter of play. Cardinals come up to the line of scrimmage. 2 wideouts to each side on the far side of the field. They're going to move into the formation. Grant Clegg, as it's a handoff straight up the gut and going nowhere but backwards a yard, if anything, is going to be the run of Dylan Farnes as he gets out there into the play for his first carry. And it makes it a second down and call it 11 yards to go for the Cardinals. And that will wrap up the first quarter of play. We're going to switch sides of the field, come back here with quarter number 2 between the Soda Springs Cardinals and the DECLO Hornets, live from Holt Arena on KBRV 800 The Bear, with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
Cattlemen have a code of ethics. Live each day with courage. Take pride in your work. Always finish what you start. Do what has to be done. Be tough but fair. When you make a promise, keep it. Ride for the brand. Talk less and say more. Remember that some things aren't for sale, and know where to draw the line. The folks at Mound Valley Cattle Company in Thatcher, Idaho are proud of the students at Grace High School, investing in the leaders of tomorrow. The Mound Valley Cattle Company, 208-339-0614.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back out to Holt Arena. Caleb Burgraff here alongside Ben Jacobson on KBRV 800 The Bear, and online with video streaming at mylocalradio.com. 22-0 your score, as the Cardinals are going to be facing a second down, 12 yards to go from the 32-yard line on their side of the field, working right to left from the far side hash mark. Twins out to each side as Adams is going to do a hard count, almost gets a man to jump, takes the ball, is going to throw a little screen pass out to the far side, underthrows it. I believe once again that one was intended for Tanner Myers, who just had it drop short of his hands.
Even if he'd have caught it, though, the defense was right there. He would have lost another yard on that, I think.
And right now the Cardinals need to be thinking of ways to get the ball up the field and start finding a couple more of those trick plays that they were using to get them some extra yardage. And here might be another time to call on that draw, as DECLO's got to be expecting a passing play. Third down. Call it along 11 from the 32-yard line. They need to get to the 43.5. Adams takes a snap once again, drops back. It's going to be that draw play. The Hornets got a great rush into him. He's going to be taken down at the 31-yard line, and that's a loss of 1 on the play. Once again, I like the play call, but you just got a huge push from the DECLO Hornets up front.
Yeah, that was absolutely a missed assignment or something there. He didn't get touched, I don't think, there.
Brings up a fourth down and a long 12 to go. And it'll be another punt coming up from Tanner Myers, who stands with his feet at the 20-yard line. Ball just inside the far side hash mark. Good snap is going to be to Myers, and no pressure as the punt is going to be end over end. It's going to kick and bounce its way forward with a couple of Soda Springs hops before rolling back up the field to the 26-yard line, where Grant Clegg is going to take the ball and hand this one off to the official. And now DECLO and the Hornets will take over. 11:09 to go, second quarter of play. 22-0 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard, with DECLO set to take over for their fifth drive of the night. Cardinals need to find a way to get back into this game. Defense has to find a way to do it. And quick update, a scoring update from North Gem out in Bancroft, as North Gem and the Cowboys moving on to the quarterfinals. They're going to take on Cary in their second round game, as Cary already won a game yesterday to move on. Right here, though, 22-0 as DECLO snaps the ball. An early flag. This one most likely, again, off a false start, I believe. No, the near side official signaled encroachment, and they're going to say false start with the head official. So DECLO will move back 5 more yards. That's 37 penalty yards on 4 penalties for DECLO.
They've been a hair sloppy, but that's been the only chink in their armor so far that I've seen tonight.
They have had some very, very good, strong play from several of their receivers. as well as from quarterback Calvin Miles, who has once again streaked to over 100 yards passing. He'll drop back to pass. No, this is a running play up the gut. Webb is going to take the ball again, more than 12 yards on the carry across the 32-yard line. In fact, we'll mark him with exactly 12 yards. They'll mark him at the 34 on that carry. And it brings up a 3-yard situation as DECLO needs to move the ball across the 36-yard line to move the chains.
Well, I think we're seeing some defensive line rotation there, and boy, that hole is getting too wide for our linebackers to fill and make plays on. They hit that so fast, and we got to do a better job there.
Cardinals will come up again, that 3-man front. They're going to bring 5 on pressure on the wings, and Miles is going to be forced to scramble. Tons of room in front of him. Good blocking in front of him, too, as Steele is going to be put to the turf, and Miles finally taken down at the 35-yard line. A 31-yard scramble for the quarterback, and finally taking him down, Tanner Myers on the near sideline. Just too much space in front of them as they sent the wide receivers deep and nobody there to stop Miles from scrambling. And another big play hurts the Cardinals here with 10:04 to go in quarter number 2, 22-0. DECLO on top of the Cardinals in this play-in round of the state playoffs. As they're going to sub a man off the field. As coming off for the Cardinals is Jeremiah Hansen. And they're going to send Hansen back onto the field now. DECLO being patient right now and allowing the Cardinals to make the substitution. Now coming onto the field is going to be a new lineman.
That's Henderson, Walker Henderson.
So Walker Henderson, maybe the smallest lineman you're going to see in the game of football, is going to go straight into the gut, goes through the legs of the center. Pass goes over the head of the defense and too far outside the white lines that are the out-of-bounds lines, and Ezra Bailey caught the ball but couldn't get it in, and I'm still just getting over.
Walker crawled right underneath the center there. He literally hands and knees right underneath his legs.
I don't know if the center knew what to do.
I hope I got that. I hope I got that on film for everybody. He went right between his legs.
4 for 11 passing right now for Calvin Miles for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns as he goes under center once again. 2 wide outs to the near side, drops back to pass. He's going to get some pressure from the far side, just gets rid of the ball and throws it between a pair of Hornets, and it's going to be a second incompletion with 3rd down and 10 upcoming. Great pressure again by the Cardinals and good defense back behind him in order to give them a chance at, again, getting a stop here with 3rd down and 10 upcoming.
Did you see who had the pressure with that?
I did not see who it was. I think it might have been D. McKimble from the outside.
From the outside.
3rd down and 10. 4 wide receivers set in the shotgun for Miles as he takes a snap once again at the 35-yard line. Gives us one up the gut. Webb's got one man to beat and is going to have help coming over to help Christensen, but Webb won't go down till the 15-yard line, and he's going to gain 20 yards on that carry. And that puts him over 100 yards on 6 carries now, too.
The defensive line are just over-pursuing, and that over-pursuit gets them washed out, and it opens up big lanes.
And you're just seeing the big differences between these teams are just the execution of the plays that are being called at this point in time. And the Cardinals' defense not necessarily executing the way we've seen them execute earlier on this year. And for the Hornets, their offense, again, except for some penalties that they've given up, has been very, very good on the field. Miles to pass again. He's going to throw this one near side. It's going to be pulled in by Duncan. He's got the 1st down. It's a 13-yard reception to inside the 3. Duncan with his 2nd reception.
Well, it's a no-win situation. That time they don't get over penetration and aren't allowed to run upfield, and there's no pressure on the quarterback, and he's able to complete an easy pitch and catch.
And right now, DECLO just keeping the Cardinals on their heels. They'll mark the ball inside the 3 at the middle of the field, and that's where it's going to be an under center formation for Calvin Miles. He takes the snap, hands this one off to Webb. It was going to be stopped short at the first attempt, and on 2nd effort, they're going to signal him into the end zone on a 3-yard carry for Braxton Webb, his 2nd touchdown rushing of the game. And it makes it 28-0. The Cardinals trailing DECLO and the Hornets here before halftime with 8:52 to go in the 2nd quarter. Not a lot of time coming off the clock in between these possessions for DECLO and the Hornets, and they're taking advantage of it, putting a lot of points up onto the scoreboard.
Well, I hate to and I don't want to badmouth any of the other teams, but I just don't think there's many teams that are going to play with these DECLO Hornets this year. I think they could win the state championship this year, and with that made PAT, that makes it 29-0. But DECLO could very easily win by 2 touchdowns every game they play this year.
They're definitely a solid team, and I think out of the teams we've faced, again, this is probably the best team that Soda faced all season long on their pursuit, and you're looking at a game that might be the entire second half of this game goes to running clock if the scoring keeps happening the way it's happening right now, as the Hornets are already 2/3 of the way there. And when you talk about this team in the state playoffs, they lost to the eventual state champions last year in Westside in the semifinals or in the quarterfinals of last year's playoffs.
I thought DECLO lost to Aberdeen. Did they lose to Westside?
I have it written down somewhere.
I think it was
Aberdeen. They
Aberdeen.
did lose to Aberdeen,
yeah,
17-15 in the quarterfinals. But before that, they won the previous 2 state championships.
Yes, yeah.
So you're talking about a team that's working on a little bit of a dynasty for the DECLO Hornets as they take on the Cardinals here in the opening round of the state playoffs at Holt Arena. And it'll be another kickoff coming up for DECLO, leading 29-0, as Ben said, on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. This kickoff brought to you by the 3C Grill in Grace, burgers, pizza, and barbecue. And don't forget, they cater as well. Set to kick this ball off to the Cardinals is number 62. And I do not have a 62 on my roster for either varsity or JV for DECLO, as this ball is going to be lobbed deeper, rolls into the hands of Myers, picks it up, and is going to be taken back to the 20, continues to go outside the Hornets formation, now reverses field, and finally is going to be taken down at the 23-yard line. Just decided to give up the run and get as many yards as he could, and the Cardinals, with 8:42 to go in the second quarter of play, will take the football once again with about 77 yards worth of turf to come across here inside the dome. And that's the one nice thing for the Cardinals. It's raining, it's cold, it's windy outside. At least you're not having to see that score go up from DECLO while you're getting pounded on by a cold storm.
Yeah, this was good to our program to be able to come here tonight.
29-0. Adams will be in that pistol formation once again. Snap goes to Adams. He's going to hand this one off to Farnes, who stopped for no gain on that rush up the gut, as they'll mark him right back at the 23-yard line. But Farnes, 2 carries for -1 yards.
Sorry, I believe that was
Mumford
again, yeah.
So Mumford has 2 carries for 3 yards tonight. The Cardinals with a total of 26 rushing yards on 7 carries, as their rushing game just has not been able to find legs, except for that 50-yard run inside the 10 that Devin Adams was able to take up the field. 29-0. Again, 8:06 clock winds. Adams takes a snap, drops back from the middle of the field. He's going to step up again in the pocket. DECLO comes up to meet him, but Adams is able to fall across the 25 for a gain of 3 yards. And it will make it a 3rd down and 7 to go now for the Cardinals, as they look to try and at least get a first down on this drive. We'll have a halftime show coming up for you, but that's still a little ways away. And Adams will trot back out onto the field with those black sock on his right leg, red sock on his left leg, and working from right to left with his team. Sends his receivers out to either side. Clegg and Chris Lloyd on the near side, as well as Steele and Tanner Myers on the right side of the formation. Adams takes a snap, drops back, looks to the near side. He's going to have a man. It's Clegg, but almost picked off. Jumping the route and seeing it all the way was Hunter Olson, and bats the pass down. He had a chance at the interception, but just a little bit late getting there, and it drops harmlessly to the turf, and it's 4th down and 7 again for the Cardinals. And when you look at the passing game for Soda, they've gone 2 for 10 now in their completions for 0 yards, or for 3 yards.
That don't work.
And they've had some chances. They've completed a couple of they've had some passes bounce off of the hands of a few receivers, but just nothing that has been successful. As now another snap is going to be high into the air on this kick attempt by Tanner Myers. It's going to bounce high and roll into DECLO territory, where it's scooped up by Devin Adams at the 43-yard line, where DECLO and the Hornets will take over once again with it, again, 29-0 on the big scoreboard over on the right side of the field. Hornets are have only been stopped once so far. That was an interception by Tanner Myers when it was 15-0. That almost led to some Soda Springs points after the big 50-yard run by Devin Adams. But those have been really the two bright spots in this game for Soda Springs and the Cardinals right now. Their defense came out early and looked like they were going to be able to give a very, very good showing against this DECLO Hornets squad, but they ended up giving up even more big plays as they've given up all season long. Miles is going to go deep again. This time he has a man down the field. Another completed pass. This one's going to go for a 57-yard touchdown pass to Wyatt Homer, his first reception of the game.
How many different guys is that's been in the end zone? That's a frustrating thing. You can go in and make adjustments at halftime, but which kid do you focus on? It's just one thing after another. Now, definitely the play down the sideline is the one that's hurt us the most, but it's not one kid in particular. It's several of them that have made that happen.
And like you said, that is the fourth different Hornet to score, as they've scored 5 times now in the game, leading 35-0. The PAT upcoming. And it's a good snap, good hold, and the kick is up and good, making it 36-0 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. We'll take another break, come back after this with more from Holt Arena on KBRV 800 The Bear, with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
MyLocalRadio.com is Southwest Wyoming and Northeast Utah's top website and the best source for local area news, weather, sports, and community events. And that's not all. MyLocalRadio.com features thousands of photographs of Wyoming and Utah high school events, from speech and drama competitions to local events, sports and activities, and much more. Check it out today and see what MyLocalRadio.com has for you.
36-0 on KBRV 800 The Bear. That is your score, as the DECLO Hornets leading the Soda Springs Cardinals on the big scoreboard at the right and left side of the field, with 6:54 to go here, second quarter of play. And the Cardinals
thank you
will take over, as they are going to be receiving another kickoff from DECLO and the Hornets. And I believe doing the kicking is Cy Osterhout.
I believe he kicked for the JV team down at DECLO.
And I believe that is a 52, not a 62 like I'd originally thought. Another high kick, and it's going to be fielded at the 32-yard line. Morgan Steele takes this one, dances his way forward for about 10 yards up to the 42. And that's where the Cardinals will take over once again, 36-0. DECLO and the Hornets again taken to the field in their black jerseys. And right now, their offense has been able to do almost anything it wants, and their defense to this point in time has given up a grand total of 32 yards to Soda Springs.
That's good defense.
And a quarter and a half right now, and a big chunk of that again on the 50-yard carry that the Cardinals had. Again, 23 of those yards came back off after a snap over the head of Adams, but overall just not much consistency for the Cardinals that they can find out there, and they can't get into a rhythm. Another snap that almost goes over Adams' head, able to pull it in, gives this one off to Mumford, who instead of turning the ball upfield goes across the formation. He wouldn't have gotten a huge amount of yards, but instead he goes for 0 yards on that carry. He's got 3 carries for 3 yards, and he might have at least been able to get 2 or 3.
Yeah, but that same kid that tackled him come from the middle. In other words, he was there if he'd have went upfield, and he was there if he went outfield. He just doesn't quite have the speed to outrun him from his middle linebacker position. That's good pursuit.
36-0. Clock winds at 6 minutes and 13 seconds to go. Adams again in that pistol formation. He takes a snap. Fakes the handoff. Now he's going to throw this ball on a pass outside. That's going to be taken in, and diving forward is Tanner Myers for maybe a yard on that completion. And at least it's a reception for the Cardinals. Gives them now 4 yards passing. And for Myers, that's his first reception, only the third completion the Cardinals have had so far in this game.
2-yard receptions don't get you any closer than them 2-yard runs, though.
Third down.
I guess they're better than a 1-yard loss run.
It's true. Third down, 9 yards to go. Adams sends Myers into motion from right to left on the formation from the far side hash mark. Adams drops back, looks to the near side. He's got Myers. He's going to throw it up. Picked off again by DECLO and the Hornets. Hunter Olsen taking the ball upfield, has blockers, and is finally taken down at the 20-yard line. And the Hornets get their second interception of the game.
I appreciate Devin Adams' effort this year. But that's a ball into double coverage. I know he's thinking if I don't throw it, I can't get a first down. We'll be punting again. But at the same time, a punt would have been a much favorable position. And I appreciate his effort, and he's working hard. He's trying the best. But, it's only blamed because he's the quarterback. A lot of other people be making it. But that's not where you want to put DECLO on the 20-yard line.
So they'll take over, will the Hornets, with a 5 wide receiver set. Miles alone in the backfield, drops back to pass, has pressure come from the backside, throws one into the end zone. Far side corner, almost picked off. Just off the fingertips of Tanner Myers, trying to break that one up and pull it in, and barely goes off his fingertips. The ball underthrown just a little bit as he was trying to get the ball to Colin Carpenter, who has yet to receive a pass or catch a touchdown in this game. And he is one of the receivers. They've already gotten it to 5 different receivers, though, on their 6 completions. He's also dropped, has Carpenter, 2 passes. So I think they're really trying to get him a chance. Miles to drop back, looking out to that left side of the formation, comes back to the right, gives the ball into the hands of Bailey, who dances through a couple of tackles, makes another man miss at the 5 as Myers is slipped up, and into the end zone with a 20-yard reception for a touchdown is Ezra Bailey with his 2nd of the game.
We had plenty of guys there, just couldn't get him down on the turf. And he's hard. I'm sure I would have looked really dumb trying to tackle him.
You and me both. This is, again, we can't say enough about this DECLO team. It's athletic, they're skilled, and they have a very good quarterback who can put the ball on the money and has shown that with 190 passing yards on 15 attempts and 5 touchdowns in the game. Another PAT coming up, 4 passing touchdowns in the game and 2 rushing. Another one comes up, this one up and good, 43-0. The Soda Springs Cardinals trailing DECLO and the Hornets, 5:05 to go in quarter number 2. We'll take another break, come back with more on KBRV 800 The Bear, and online with live video streaming at mylocalradio.com.
There has never been a better time to convert to natural gas. Even in the summer months, natural gas is worth asking for. Reach Plumbing and Heating in Soda Springs will replace your furnace that caused you problems this winter with a new natural gas furnace, or even install a natural gas water heater to keep your water hot. Plus, Reed's can add a water softener to your home. And if you want to cool things down, Reed's Plumbing and Heating will install an energy-efficient Lennox air conditioner. All at Reed's Plumbing and Heating, 180 South 3rd Street, Soda Springs.
Welcome back out to the home of Idaho State at Holt Arena, where Caleb Berggraf and Ben Jacobson are bringing you the call between the Soda Springs Cardinals and the DECLO Hornets. The Hornets have put 3 touchdowns up on the board in the first quarter. They do the exact same in the second quarter as they take a 43-0 lead over the Soda Springs Cardinals. And right now the Cardinals looking for answers, searching for answers, but I think they picked up the wrong book, as this one is blank on the pages on the inside to figure out how to stop these DECLO Hornets.
Well, the good news was DECLO's passing game. They got lots of time here left to try and do something before the second half.
5:05 to go as the kick is going to go deep. It's going to be fielded by Tanner Myers at the 16. Gets a full head of steam to come up the field. Dances to the outside. Loses the football. Bounces right back into his hands. He gets to the sideline. Gets past number 16, but out of bounds at the 37 is where to mark him. All he had to do was beat Brecken Bailey, the sophomore defensive back, and he would have been into the end zone, and that is the most fortuitous bounce I've ever seen in a football game.
That wasn't a bounce, that was a dribble.
Myers lost the football at the 40-yard line, and it bounced right back into his hands at the 42. And the Cardinals will get a big return to the 34-yard line of DECLO and the Hornets out of that deal.
That's why they've been kicking them little squib kicks, and last time Morgan returned it, so they tried to go the other direction.
43-0, but the Cardinals looking to change that 0 as Adams takes the snap, hands this one off to Farnes, who's going to take the ball up the right side to the 30-yard line, a 4-yard gain for Dylan Farnes on that right side, and Dylan is going to bounce his way back to the huddle after his second carry gets him to 3 yards on the game.
That was a very good hard 4 yards he just picked up. It there, really though. Was. He knew he was going to take a shot, and he at least took it at full speed.
Put his head down and tried to deliver the hit instead of having the hit delivered to him. And that's one of the things that you see from a lot of the better running backs is they try to initiate some of that contact when they know it's going to happen. Adams to snap the ball again on 2nd and 6. Takes the snap, gives this one to Farnes, the near side, trying to get outside. Gets ahead by a yard to the 29-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5 to go with 4:07 winding down on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard with it 43-0. DECLO on top of Soda Springs. Cardinals trying to at least get some points on the board here and give themselves a little bit to be happy about going into halftime, and they need to get 5 yards. Right now I think you're in 4-down territory if you're Soda Springs. So just try and get at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 yards to try and move the chains. A 5-yard gain would move those chains. Snap to Adams. He's going to take this one. A pitch play. He's going to be almost taken down. Squirts out of a tackle. Continues to run to the near side. Able to gain a couple of those yards. Gets to the 31 on a reach just to the near sideline. And taken down finally on the play by Cy Osterhout. And the one thing that you look at on that play is Adams could have gone out of bounds and instead turned it upfield and got an extra 3 yards that he wouldn't have gotten.
Got an injured player over here. He's grabbing his knee. I don't know who it is.
I believe if it's who I think it is from the backfield, it might be Farnes.
Farnes come out. It's Chris Lloyd.
That is going to be Chris Lloyd, and that is a big loss for the Cardinals if they don't hold on to him, as he is going to walk off under his own power. He is going to be helped off to the sidelines by the assistant coach of the JV team in Coulter Evans, who came out to check him out. And Coulter, he shaved his beard. I almost didn't recognize him when I first saw him.
I think that's because that was Jared Shelton, wasn't it?
That is actually Jared Shelton, correct. But
he
Evans did
shaved
still
all
shave
the
his beard. And
yes,
I was talking to him on the sidelines, and I'm hoping that's not the reason why the score is as lopsided as it is right now, because he shaved off the luck.
Oh, yeah.
3:17 to go, though, as Chris Lloyd again taken off the field. They're going to set him down on the bench on the far sideline on the Soda Springs side underneath the fans, which actually a fairly good crowd here for what you were expecting. There's got to be a good 400, 500 people in the bleachers on the far side of the field for a two-way matchup. Cardinals will huddle up, and there you see it for those of you watching online at mylocalradio.com. Cardinals will come up. 4th down and 2. They're going to go for it from the 26-yard line. Adams comes up under center. He'll take the snap. Looks to do a quick pass over the middle. It's going to be a screen pass completed, I believe. And that's going to be good for the 1st down. Tanner Myers able to pull it in, and it's a gain of 5 yards on the pass play. That quick hitter working well.
Yep. That was a good catch, too.
And Myers gets up to 6 yards now on the game. Cardinals with 9 yards passing in this game now. At 2:53, the clock continues to wind down, but the Cardinals just outside of the DECLO red zone. They'll come up to the line of scrimmage once again with Devin Adams in that pistol. One man behind him in the backfield, that's Mumford. He's going to have a snap go almost over his head, pulls it in, finds Mumford on the near side, picks it up off the turf, falls forward to the 21-yard line. Gain of 3 yards on that pass play. And Soda Springs will again get a little bit of yardage. This is what you need to do if you're the Cardinals.
Yeah, you get a clean catch on that. He gets 5 or 6, and it's short yardage, but that's still a nice pickup. It was a little low on the ball. He was under a little pressure, but that was a good choice, a good safe pass.
2nd down, 7 yards to go now. 2:12 to go as the clock continues to wind. 43-0 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard in the 2nd quarter of play. Cardinals with one of their better sustained drives that they've had, moving the ball into DECLO territory inside the 20 for the first time or the 2nd time all game. Adams will stand in that pistol formation, 2 wideouts to each side. Calls out the count. Good snap to Adams. He's going to throw this one on a bubble screen to Morgan Steele, who's going to be taken forward, loses the football. A scrum forward. I believe the Cardinals recover it at the 11-yard line, or the 9-yard line, excuse me. Coming up with the ball, but also coming up Gimpy on the play is going to be...
That's Jaron Johnson, number 50.
And
he did a great job, though. He wasn't going to let that ball be in their hands. He did a great job of recovering that.
And it's going to be a 1st down for the Cardinals on that. 10 yards now to Jaron Johnson because of recovering the fumble. And that's going to put it inside the 10-yard line. 1st down and goal from the 9 for Soda Springs, as their offense looks to punch it in for the first time all game. And you never know what can happen in a football game once you get a little bit of momentum and get that first score on the board. Adams in that pistol once again, looking to drive his team into the end zone, looking to pass, fakes the pass to the far side, now rolls his way to the right, throws one across his body into the end zone at the L, and Bengals Pulling it in is going to be Tanner Myers with the 9-yard touchdown reception, and the Cardinals are on the board. Great job by both Myers not giving up after he ran his route and coming back to the middle, and by Adams for finding his senior counterpart, and the two of them combined for a touchdown.
The original route was covered there, and Myers, Devin scrambling, give him just enough time to find a seam in that defense and complete that play.
Great job by the Cardinals answering back. They take good field position. They move it up, and now a PAT upcoming as Adams set to put this one up into the air. The kick is up. Kick is good, and Soda Springs answers a touchdown from DECLO with a touchdown of their own. It's 43-7 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go in quarter number 2. Back with more and the resumption of the first half of play on KBRV 800 The Bear and online with live video streaming at mylocalradio.com.
I'm a dog, and I'm kind of new to this family, but I've noticed a trend. My humans do this thing where they go around and get all my toys and hide them in this basket, but it's always the same basket, and it's always the same place, and then they act so surprised when I find them, but I'm like, hello, that's where you put it last time. Humans are the worst at hide and go seek.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Welcome back out to Holt Arena. Caleb Berggraf here alongside Ben Jacobson, and Soda Springs and the Cardinals getting their first points of the postseason since they were last in the playoffs in 2013, and they ended up losing to Wendell in a 28-7 game in that one. But the Cardinals, it's been a while since they've gotten on the scoreboard. Now they have a chance to build on their last 2 playoff appearances, in fact, where they have only scored 17 total points in those 2 matchups combined.
And that was against still most of the starting defense. I didn't see a lot of rotation there, if at any. And if it was only to the seniors that rotate in second string.
43-7 as the kick is going to be lined deep once again to the near sideline, taken there by Braxton Webb. He's going to come up, fakes the handoff. Cardinals don't get fooled. They have good coverage of Webb. He's taken down inside the 20 at the 17-yard line. The defense comes out and special teams able to force a good stop and put the DECLO Hornets back deep inside their own 20 on that 3C Grill and Grace kickoff, brought to you by them. Burgers, pizzas, and barbecue. Don't forget they cater as well, the 3C Grill and Grace.
You know, if you're going to run that reverse, don't you want to fake it more in the middle of the field so that if you do hand it off, your guy has somewhere to go? He was kind of bottlenecked over here.
Had no room in order to move up the field, and that allowed the Cardinals defense to say 2 or 3 people over to guard that. The entire team didn't have to move over. It'll be another snap to Miles. He's going to look deep again. A stop and go route. This time pulling it in is Carpenter, and he's got no one in front of him. If he can keep up the juice, he's got a touchdown. Trying to force the fumble at the last minute is going to be Mumford, but he can't do it, and it is a 83-yard touchdown pass to Colin Carpenter, and just like that, DECLO goes up 49-7.
You know, they're sure not going to run the ball any, are they? Try and take some time off the clock or anything like that.
This is a go offense from DECLO and the Hornets, and they are not taking any mercy as they have 273 passing yards now in this game, and 3 of their last 4 passes have resulted in touchdowns, and each one of them has been more than 50 yards. 56, 57, and 83 as a quick flag comes out before the PAT. And right now the Cardinals getting turned down by 42 points as an offsides penalty is going to be called against Soda Springs, and we'll see if DECLO continues to decide to just go for the PAT. Last time they ended up getting this, it ended up being a point where DECLO will decline the penalty, and it will just be a regular PAT coming up. Again, Tanner Schroeder to put this one up. Another flag comes out once again, and this one is going to be another encroachment penalty on the Cardinals, so expect it. This time DECLO is not going to decline it, and they're going to send their offense back out there onto the field to go for 2, I believe. And so second time, the Hornets say, we'll give it to you once, but we're not going to give it to you twice. And they'll send back out the offense to go for 2 to try and put themselves up 51-7 if they can get this conversion. Miles under center, power formation. 2 tight end set, drops back, rolls to the near side, trying to get in a race to the corner. He's going to run into the end zone. Calvin Miles with his own PAT, and that is going to put DECLO up 51-7 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. We'll be back after this on KBRV 800 The Bear with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
Here are your Lalaton's food specials for the week of October 29th through November 4th. It's meat on the menu at Lalaton's as it's the whole hog sale. Pork boneless country style ribs $1.49 a pound. St. Louis style spare ribs $2.99 a pound. And don't forget about the pork loin chops at $1.29 a pound, or get T-bone or ribeye pork chops at $1.99 a pound. It's the whole hog sale at Lalaton's in Soda Springs.
Welcome back out to Holt Arena. Caleb Berggraf on KBRV 800 The Bear alongside Ben Jacobson, 51-7. DECLO and the Hornets with a lead with 48 seconds left in the first half of play. Cardinals will be receiving the ball to start off the second half. So if they can get a quick drive here, get down into the red zone quickly, maybe get some points onto the scoreboard, they'll be in decent position to try and come back in this game. But right now, after the passing game of DECLO and the Hornets, they've really decimated the Cardinals with their last 3 completions. I said their last 3 of their last 4 passing plays, but in fact their last 3 completions, as they had an incompletion dropped in the middle of there, have been touchdown passes. 51-7 as another kickoff upcoming from DECLO. They're going to send this one deep down the field to the 15-yard line where it's picked up by Tanner Myers. Up the middle of the field, he now goes over to the right sideline before being taken down at the 24 on a hard tackle over there. As being taken down, it was Trey Ramsey as well as a mystery number 72. And a lot of different names out there for DECLO and the Hornets with playoff rosters, so I apologize for not getting some of them out there. But the Cardinals will take over with 43 seconds to go from their own 23-yard line, and we'll see what the play calling is here for Soda Springs. Tough position to see yourself put in right now if you're the Cardinals, as you're on the verge of seeing running clock put up on you at the start of the third quarter. As they'll take a snap, hand this ball off. Logan Mumford runs forward, gets a gain of about 4 yards on the play, and a good carry by Logan there. That, I think, has been one of the nice things to see, is the Cardinals. Mumford has made some plays on offense and defense. In fact, he came from all the way across the field on that last 83-yard touchdown pass and almost stripped the ball before the ball went into the end zone with Carpenter for the touchdown.
Yeah, he's been as successful as anyone with our running game.
So Adams again in that pistol, 11 seconds to go, one more play for the Cardinals. It's going to be a handoff once again. Farnes takes this one, goes straight up the gut, gains about 4 more yards on that carry. Dillon's going to get himself up to 8 yards, and that is going to bring us to the end of the first half of play here at Holt Arena. The score 51-7 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. We'll take a break, come back with our London Drug in Grace halftime highlights. We'll tell you how he got to this 51-7 score, as well as an interview with our standout student coming up as well on KBRV 800 The Bear and online with live video streaming at mylocalradio.com.
How'd I do?
You'll get better. Tim can't wait to be a real driver. But for now, he's king of the online track thanks to Silver Star Communications high-speed internet. Reliable, consistent speeds give him the edge against players anywhere, even the other end of the couch.
Whoa. You'll get better.
Visit silverstar.com to learn more.
One stop and get everything on your list. Gas, groceries, fresh deli items, lottery tickets, and all your fish and game licenses. Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs is locally owned and open 7 days a week. You can check the daily lunch specials every Monday through Friday on the Patterson Quick Stop Facebook page. When you need it quick, get it at Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs, 111 North Hooper. Go Cardinals!
They need your help. They're overstocked with Lazy Boy and Catnapper recliners, sofas, and love seats. They'll wheel and deal right now at Sanders Furniture, Flooring, and Appliance. If you will help them make room in their showroom, they'll help you keep money in your bank account while you're enjoying high-quality, comfortable Lazy Boy and Catnapper recliners, sofas, and love seats. They need your help, and you need to save money. Wheel and deal right now at Sanders Furniture, Flooring, and Appliances on Main Street in Soda Springs.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to
Then what you're
going
to do is turn onto Marcy Avenue.
just broke up,
and go past the first
apparently
3
she's
lights
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
then drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back out to DECLO Arena, Holt Arena, where right now DECLO might as well be putting their name onto it, up 51-7 on Soda Springs and the Cardinals at halftime. Let's take a look at our halftime highlights, brought to you by London Drug and Grace, locally owned, locally operated, and locally loved. They're your local good neighbor pharmacy. It all started on the first drive of the game for DECLO and the Hornets. It took them about 5 minutes and 14 seconds to drive down the field and get a 20-yard pass from Calvin Miles into the wide receiver of Ezra Bailey as he was able to pull in that first touchdown pass of the game. That made it 7-0. DECLO on top. Cardinals would drive a small ways in their first possession and then would end up turning the ball back over to DECLO, who would take it 49 yards, this time on a run by Braxton Webb into the end zone with 2:06 left to go in the first quarter of play. That made it 15-0 after a 2-point conversion was made as well after the Cardinals offsides let the DECLO Hornets go to it. A 56-yard pass would close out the first quarter of play by the Hornets. It would be Calvin Miles making this pass to the freshman Keegan Duncan, who is going to be a big player for them in the future, but he got his first postseason touchdown. That was, again, a 56-yard pass. He's got 2 receptions for 69 yards now. It all got started with that. That made it 22-0 after the PAT was good. The Cardinals would not see the football again in their hands in good position until later on in the first half of play, as the DECLO Hornets would then go on a 3-yard run by Braxton Webb to get them up by 29-0 with 8:52 to go. A 57-yard pass from Calvin Miles to, Wyatt Homer with 6:54 to go. That would put them up 36-0. And then a 20-yard pass from Miles to Ezra Bailey for his second touchdown reception with 5:05 to go. That would put them up 43-0 against the Soda Springs Cardinals. Then Soda Springs would finally get up onto the scoreboard as they ended up with a 9-yard pass from Devin Adams into Tanner Myers. That was a great job on the Cardinals on that play, as well as extending it as Adams was under pressure in the pocket. That would get them onto the board 43-7, but DECLO on the next play would respond with an 83-yard touchdown pass from Calvin Miles to his receiver who had dropped a couple of passes in Colin Carpenter, and that would put them up 51-7 after another 2-point run, this time by Miles running it in after another offsides penalty by the Cardinals. Overall yardage-wise, 8 for 16 passing for DECLO for 273 yards, 14 rushes for 182 yards, already 455 yards for DECLO and the Hornets as they continue to push their way up the field. For the Soda Springs Cardinals, 15 carries for 58 yards on the game, and no touchdowns for the Soda Springs Cardinals. 6 for 15 passing for 21 yards, and the 1 touchdown for Soda Springs. 2 interceptions for Devin Adams. I should also mention that Tanner Myers does have an interception in tonight's game as he picked off a pass when it was 15-0 and was able to return it up the field for the Cardinals. And Ben, when you look at Soda Springs right now, they have 10 more minutes to talk in the locker room. What is your message to the kids right now with the score where it's at as you look to try and get your way back into this game?
Well, I know the only message you can give is to keep trying, to keep fighting, because you can't give up. And I don't think they are playing in a state of mind that they are giving up. I think they are trying hard. I think they are battling. I don't see that. Do you?
I do not see that at all. I mean, you've seen it in the way that they're hitting holes when they're running. I particularly have been impressed with Mumford, the way he's been running the ball tonight, as well as Farnes. When he's gotten his carries, he's been hitting the holes, which that was a problem earlier on in the season, as Farnes was tentative sometimes when he would hit the holes. And as a running back, you've seen him learn to really dive into those holes and attack.
Yeah, when he's healthy and feels good, he runs hard. And I hope in the second half we just continue to try and keep the clock moving and run hard. And if we see especially that 5-man front, which they show at times, and then they bring some heat off the edge, we need to be able to run up the middle. And that's not an easy task because they have some pretty big, pretty stout linemen in there. But we got to do what we've had success with, which is some run plays. And we got to try and have some ball control and try and get this a little under control.
I do like one of the other things that I've seen has been the fact that the Cardinals have really been trying to get some fresh players into the game. You've seen a lot of their bench players getting into the game and getting some time out there on the field, and including some small players that are not necessarily used to playing against the size that they're going against, but nobody is going easy. And I think the play, again, that comes out in my mind on that one is when you put in that tiny defensive lineman, and he's going against the center that's twice his size easily and still fights to get through, even if it means just crawling through his legs to try and get to the quarterback, something to try and keep your momentum moving forward on the defensive side and not giving up.
Well, you're right, and the more effort you give like that, the better. And we're at a position where we can play everybody now. Whether they want to or not, it doesn't matter. What we can control is our substitutions. And all week long in practice, our kids were very, very excited to come down here. I'm sure this isn't the game and not what they had visioned. But to their credit, they were never scared or never hung their heads and said, why did we have to play this game? They took the challenge, they accepted that, and they were excited for the challenge. Now, it's not working out like they'd hoped, but they still never shrunk from it. And they still came down here with expectations to play hard and to do their best. And, you know, you can say, is their best good enough? And maybe it isn't. But at the same time, they're trying hard, and they come down here to play, and they're excited to be here, and it's a fun venue to play in. We really lucked out that DECLO decided to have it here. Like you said earlier, we could be out in bad weather. It wouldn't make much difference in the game other than, you know, we wouldn't have the opportunity to say, yeah, we came here and we played. You know, and Coach Garbutt talked to him earlier in the week about just enjoying the opportunity to get to play another week. And if you really love football, you enjoy playing. Every snap, no matter what the score is, you should give full effort and enjoy the opportunity here. And, you know, there's, 10 other teams in the playoffs, or 16 total teams?
14 other teams left.
14 other teams. None of the rest of them got to play here. 7 of them will go home without getting to play here. But Soda Springs Cardinals came and they played and they battled and they got to play here. So that's what you're going to see in the second half is a lot of rotation, a lot of kids enjoying the experience, and hopefully putting forth the best effort like that. We talked a little bit about Jaron Johnson when he got a little banged up, but he wasn't going to let that ball on the turf. That's the example of a kid that has played JV all year for us as a sophomore, but he's excited about his chance to fill in for Branson Steiner, who's gone on out of town this weekend and couldn't play. You know, but he's making the most of it. He's got a fumble recovery. He's getting to play some time on varsity, and that's maybe the funnest thing he's done this year. You know, he's worked hard for us on the JV, and he deserved that opportunity to move up, and he took it, and he's going to be a steady spot filler for us next year, maybe on both sides of the ball as a junior. And where's he going to have experience to draw from? Here tonight. And so that's the little moral victories that are hard to see coming across. But that's exactly what these Cardinals are experiencing right now. And I hope that's realistic, that this will benefit us in the future too. But you never know. Out of those fans over there might be some younger kids that are remembering their older brother play football here and have a desire to come and do that too someday. And that's what you got to take away from this right now.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, and I think you will see the Cardinals come out and push as much as they can as they look to try and build up and get themselves a little bit more of a momentum boost coming in to the back half of this one. We're going to take a look at our standout student right now, as I had a chance to sit down with one of the other students at Soda Springs High School who's a member of the cross-country team, as we sit down right now on KBR V800 The Bear and online at mylocalradio.com with our standout student.
Caleb Burgraff with our standout student, Dallin Seyfried. And Dallin, you're a junior here at Soda Springs High School. How's the first couple of months of the school year been going for you?
Pretty good. Just been participating in cross-country and academics and stuff like that.
When you look at the academic side of things, what's your class schedule been looking like this year, and what are some of your favorites out of those?
It's been much more relaxing than last semester. I was able to throw in my senior project class, which was creating a server, but other than that, it's just been calculus, physics. Those are some of my favorites.
What kind of draws you to those kind of classes, and what makes it exciting in those?
I'd have to say it's more of a challenge. It's fun. The way that math is taught here at the school, it's through understanding and stuff like that. So it's very interesting just to learn about, understanding of how math works and stuff like that.
When you talk about getting your senior project class, you're a junior, getting into that early. What's that like, getting a jump on that before you actually become a senior?
I don't know. It's kind of spur of the moment. Middle of summer, I get called by my math teacher saying he wanted me to create a Moodle server because the contract was running out October 1st. And so I got a jump on that, and I don't know. It was random, but it's been fun.
When you talk about the classes, what goes along with that hand in hand is the teachers at the school too. Who's your favorite teacher in the entire school to work with?
This is a loaded question. Not at liberty to say. I don't know. I'd say I like all of them.
It's always good when you have a teaching staff that you can really get along with almost anybody there. Who or what do you look for in a teacher? What really makes a good teacher in your opinion?
When they're active with or proactive with the students, and they follow up with our questions, and they try to help us understand them.
Couple more quick questions for you. Now, you're in some activities outside of school. You talk about cross country. Are there any other things that you do outside of school to kind of keep yourself busy?
Other than typical video games and reading, I do BPA and some summer running. That's about it.
You also just took your ACT test on Saturday. How do you feel like you did, and are you excited about seeing the results for it, or are you thinking it might be a second take for you next semester?
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a second take, but I felt pretty good about this test, so just hoping somewhere in the 30s.
That's all you can ever hope for, and of course colleges depending on it. You said you had 4 colleges that you're looking at getting into. Any sneak peek on those, or are you wanting to keep those to yourself?
I'll give you a few. The main one is going to be MIT, but I've looked up stats for them, and it's going to be tough to get in. The other 3 are just Utah State, University of Utah, and BYU.
Always nice to stay a little bit local and have your goals high there for MIT too. Good luck to you, Dallin, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk, and hopefully we'll hear good things about you coming through your senior year and you can reach those goals to get into MIT.
Here are your Lalaton's food specials for the week of October 29th through November 4th. It's meat on the menu at Lalaton's, as it's the whole hog sale. Pork boneless country-style ribs, $1.49 a pound. St. Louis-style spare ribs, $2.99 a pound. And don't forget about the pork loin chops at $1.29 a pound, or get T-bone or ribeye pork chops at $1.99 a pound. It's the whole hog sale at Lalaton's in Soda Springs.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
There's an organization in southeast Idaho whose wildlife conservation efforts have been commended by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Idaho Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and the North American Moose Foundation. Who is this organization? It's Monsanto. While Monsanto is honored by the recognition they receive, their ongoing dedication to the environment is its own reward for all of us. Monsanto. Imagine.
Welcome back out to Holt Arena. Caleb Burgraff here alongside the assistant coach of the JV team, as well as my color man and cameraman, Ben Jacobson, is 3 minutes left until we start the second half of action here between the Cardinals and the DECLO Hornets, as these two teams look to try and keep things alive here on the football field. Soda Springs will be starting out with the football to start out the second half of play. And again, I have an update for you from Bancroft. The North Gem Cowboys are moving on to the second round of their playoffs, as they're going to be taking on Cary, who came away with a 38-0 win against Rockland last night. And that'll be a good semifinal matchup. On the other side of that bracket, Clark County moved on after beating Richfield, and Lighthouse Christian got a bye after Water Springs forfeit in that one. So that leaves Clark County taking on Lighthouse, Deary Kendrick taking on Salmon River, Council Tri-Valley taking on Deary Kendrick. So the loser of that one, so there's a lot of different things still to be decided in that bracket as far as who plays who. The one that is determined is Salmon River is moving on. Over in the other 1A, Division 1, a lot of games going on tonight. One was forfeited. Kamiai moved on. Greenleaf forfeited that match after they didn't have enough kids to get onto the field, I believe, is the issues that they had.
Kind of odd that 2 different games this year were forfeited. I don't know if I've seen that before yet. There was 2 of them this year in that 1A division.
Up at the other rest of that bracket that Grace is on, they're taking on Glens Ferry. That game just kicked off about 5 minutes ago. We're going to try and get score updates from that one if we can. Horseshoe Bends takes on Lapwai. That's at 6 o'clock tonight, so that game kicked off about an hour ago. And also just kicking off, Valley taking on Hagerman. Valley the favorite in that bottom bracket to make their way through, as they usually are. Up on the top half, Prairie takes on Wallace, another favorite there in that game right now. Butte County takes on Oakley. A tough game there after Butte County lost one of their best running backs, maybe one of the best running backs in the state.
Oh, they did?
In their matchup, as they lost Yelp, their big running back who had 1,500 yards on the year coming into that, or after that loss, and maybe a torn ACL, so not sure if he's in that game tomorrow or not. So a big loss for Butte County when you lose a player like that. Also, Raft River takes on Idaho City, and Notice takes on Genesee. That's your 1A football bracket. And at the 2A level, again, Soda Springs right now taking on DECLO. Aberdeen taking on Firth tonight. Right now, that game just getting underway, and the Aberdeen will take on the winner of St. Mary's and New Plymouth. West Jefferson and Bear Lake kicking off right now, too.
Should
and
be
that
a good
is the game
yeah.
that everyone should be watching, too. Very good teams, and the winner of that game takes on the DECLO Hornets, most likely out of this matchup here in that second round, the quarterfinal round. Other groups from District 5, Westside takes on North Fremont tonight. That game, or tomorrow night, I should say, that game at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And wrapping it all off, I believe, actually I already did wrap it up with Aberdeen taking on Firth. We're ready for the second half of play. 12 minutes on the board, 51-7. The DECLO Hornets on top of the Soda Springs Cardinals, and the second half kickoff bounces to the 20-yard line. Fielded there by Logan Mumford, fakes the handoff, and he's going to go to the 25-yard line before he's taken down. And Mumford will give the Cardinals field position at their own 25-yard line. 1st and 10 yards to go.
I just wanted to tell anybody from Grace listening that we sure hope they do well, and very happy that North Gem did a good job too. That it's definitely nice to see everybody in the county, you know, in the playoffs late and battling and having good football seasons. It's fun.
And local teams, there is a little bit of a rivalry, but on the same side, you got to support each other across the board. And we will be carrying one of those football games next week between Grace or North Gem, depending on how it all works out. Adams gives the handoff here, as it's going to be Myers running up the gut. I believe that was Myers. It was either that or Farnes.
I think Myers was lead blocking for him, and Farnes ran really hard there. Good run by him.
You're correct on that. 5 yards on the carry for Farnes puts him into double figures on the ground. 5 for 13. And the Cardinals have 2nd and 5 coming up against DECLO and the Hornets. And I think you're starting to see a couple of the Hornets' backup players coming out there onto the field.
Yeah, definitely. Middle backer's new.
I know this left end is new as well.
Yep, you're correct.
So a lot of new players getting some playing time out there, which is a little bit of a sign from DECLO that they're laying off just a bit as the Cardinals come out 2nd and 5. Adams gives the handoff once again up the gut. Farnes runs through an arm tackle, gains 8 yards up to the 38-yard line, and it's going to give the Cardinals a first down after Farnes gets up to 21 yards now on the game. A great run up the gut and not allowing himself to be taken down after that opening tackle. Brings up a 1st and 10 for the Cardinals at the 38-yard line, middle of the field, as they look to continue to move the chains and move the ball up the field here. 51-7, they trail, second half. 10 minutes, 54 seconds to go. Adams takes a snap, rolls out to the near side, throws this one behind Myers. If that's in front of Myers, I'm not sure how many yards he would have gained, but it would have been a good for at least 2 or 3 yards with the momentum going forward. And it makes it now 6 for 16 passing for Devin Adams tonight, with those 2 interceptions to his credit as well. Clock stops with 10:49 to go, 2nd down and 10. Soda Springs at the 37.5-yard line with the ball marked. Cardinals huddling up, taking their time right now. And you can't blame them for that against this partially second-string defense for DECLO and the Hornets. As Adams waits for the blitz, 5 men come. He's going to hand this one off. No, keeps it himself up the left side of the formation. Taken down after no gain on the play. And it brings up a 3rd down and 10 now with the ball at the 38-yard line. Actually, they're going to give him a yard on the play. I didn't know if they would or not, as it looked like he hit a wall there at the 33, and instead they're going to move it up to the 34.
That was a good fill by the linebacker, whoever hit him there. That was excellent.
Especially on those option plays, it can be tough to watch, but Adams cut the ball inside, and I don't know if the defense was expecting it, but good reaction time as Lloyd goes into motion left to right. They're going to float this pass over the head of Morgan Steele, and that's going to drop incomplete, bringing up a 4th down and 9 to go for the Cardinals, and we'll see if they decide to punt the ball away here, or if they decide to go for it. And it looks like Coach Garbutt giving the punt signal from the sideline, lifting the foot and kicking it forward, and that is what the Cardinals are going to do here.
Adams feels bad. He missed Morgan there. He knows he did.
But he can't hang his head on that one.
Oh,
Again,
no.
He hasn't played a terrible game here tonight. It's not like he's had a bad contest in one pass. You can't drag your head on that. 51-7, Cardinals punting the ball away. It's going to be a fake pass. They're going to try and find Adams. It's too far over the head of everybody. Drops incomplete. Keegan Duncan let the ball drop down to the turf.
That was open too, wasn't it? They just overthrew him.
Tanner Myers with a good arm on him, just a little bit too far over everyone's head, and it ends up dropping incomplete. I think they had that one, and it was going to go for yardage if it ends up being completed, and possibly even a touchdown. It's really the only man in front of Adams was Duncan.
The punter, or punt return, huh?
And a possible touchdown there if the Cardinals could have caught that pass and moved it forward, but instead, DECLO takes over, up 51-7 with 10:04 to go here, 3rd quarter.
Well, definitely a lot of substitutions there, too, so.
We'll see who's quarterbacking DECLO coming out, and it does look to be a new quarterback as Tanner Schroeder, the kicker, is going to come out and start quarterbacking this Hornet squad as they'll come out in that offset wing tee, put a man into motion, goes behind the whole formation, and it's going to be a handoff straight up the gut, and being stopped for no gain is Hunter Olson, and it'll be his first carry of the night, and it goes for no gain, 2nd down and 10 upcoming. So JV out there essentially for DECLO and the Hornets, the JVers they could put out onto the field.
Well, Soda's making a few subs there, some of their starters, giving some other kids a little playing time as well.
So a backup game right now, 9:34 to go, as it's going to be a handoff to the far side, and Schroeder gives this ball off to a very, very good carry, as Hunter Olson is going to gain himself about 9 yards on that carry, and it makes it a 3rd down and 1. Great blocking up ahead of Olson on that one. The Cardinals reacted well to it, just there was a line of black jerseys in front of them that they couldn't really get to Olson on that play. Clock continues to wind down, 9:06 to go here. 3rd quarter of play, 51-7. DECLO at the 30-yard line, far side hash. Inside Soda Springs territory, snap goes to Schroeder. He's going to hand this one off to the fullback. That quick hit is going to gain DECLO 6 yards all the way up to the 24-yard line. Carrying the ball that time was number 32. Or excuse me, that was 33. Ronnie Kincaid, his 3rd carry of the night, goes for 6 yards. 8 minutes, 50 seconds. Clock will continue to wind. DECLO again comes out this time. Power I formation stacked up behind the quarterback. 2 wideouts to the near side, 1 up to the top. It's going to be a snap to Schroeder. Cuts inside the defense and is rolled forward for a yard gain up to the 23. 1 yard carry there. Schroeder actually would have been better off if he had pitched that one to the outside. Instead, he goes right into the teeth of the Cardinals defense, and the Cardinals defensive line getting a push there against the front.
Yeah,
and again, a lot of JVers up there.
Had a good chance to attack him for a loss and just swung him forward for a little gain, but still good stop.
8:15 to go, clock winds, snap to Schroeder again. He's going to come around to the near side and rolling his way forward to the 22-yard line for another 1-yard gain is Garrett Darrington with his first carry tonight.
There's definitely a lot of talent on this DECLO JV team, if you'll call them that. They played very, very well against us down there as well.
Substitutions for the Cardinals is sprinting off the field is going to be Caden Brown to get a rest. It's going to be Schroeder rolling out. He's going to go deep to the end zone, has a man, and it's going to be held on to, and a touchdown rolling into the end zone. Trey Ramsey with a 22-yard touchdown reception and getting his first pass to be completed in a tough situation to try and squeeze that one in. There was good defense being played by Morgan Steele over in the corner. A good pass by Schroeder ends up getting them on the board once again and making the lead 57-7. A 50-point lead and a PAT upcoming as Schroeder will stay on the field for the PAT as he is also the kicker for this DECLO team. As he will line it up, and it's going to be blocked on the attempt. No good. 50-7. The score will stay. Coming, I missed who got the block. I don't know if you were able to see who came through.
There was just several there. It come around that offensive's right side, though. But, yeah, there was a little bit of a bobble in getting it on the tee, and then that was a good block.
And it comes to a 57-7 score. We'll take another break, come back with more here in the third quarter. 7:32 to go. Cardinals trailing by 50 points on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard on KBRV 800 The Bear and online at mylocalradio.com.
Cattlemen have a code of ethics. Live each day with courage. Take pride in your work. Always finish what you start. Do what has to be done. Be tough but fair. When you make a promise, keep it. Ride for the brand. Talk less and say more. Remember that some things aren't for sale and know where to draw the line. The folks at Mound Valley Cattle Company in Thatcher, Idaho are proud of the students at Grace High School, investing in the leaders of tomorrow. The Mound Valley Cattle Company, 208-339-0614.
Welcome back out to Holt Arena. Caleb Berggraf here alongside Brian Jacobson and Ben Jacobson. I don't know where I called you Brian.
It starts with a B, right? I've been called worse B words.
57-7 as it is again going to be DECLO kicking off. Another 3C Grill and Grace kickoff here on KBRV 800 The Bear and online at mylocalradio.com. If you haven't checked out our videocast, do so. This is our last football videocast. As after this, the playoffs are no longer able for us to get those videocasts up. As DECLO kicks this ball off, Mumford's going to give this handoff now. Mumford holds on to it, fakes the defense out, and coming up the near sideline, Tanner Myers up to the 45 and across the 45 to the 48-yard line before being taken down, and that reverse worked perfectly for Soda Springs. Good return there for the Cardinals, and it brings up 1st and 10. As I said, from the 47 is where they'll mark the ball. 57-7, the score on the board with 7:22. As no running clock is started yet. We'll see if they start it here. I'm not sure if they can in the playoffs, as some states do it differently as far as that goes. The Cardinals will come up to the line of scrimmage. Adams still in that pistol formation, takes a snap, gives the handoff to Farnes. No, keeps himself, rolls to the near side, able to slip a tackle before finally going out of bounds at the 46-yard line of DECLO and the Hornets. And that's where they will mark him. So a keeper and a run of 7 yards for Devin Adams on the play. Gets him back up to 41 yards on the night. And if you take away that 23-yard loss that he had, 64 yards rushing for Adams on what you can really account him for.
Yeah, he's that one big run helped out a lot with that statistic, but it's still showing that he's competing hard.
57-7. Cardinals again come up to the line of scrimmage. 2nd down, 3 yards to go. Ball on the 46. They'll hand this one off again. It's going to be a reverse to Myers, who's going to be locked up in the backfield. Shakes off a couple of tackles, spins to the near side, and finally able to fight back to, I believe, the original line of scrimmage. Myers refusing to go down, and he's able to, again, as I said, fight his way back up to make it and keep it at 3rd down. They'll actually give him a loss of a yard. So 3rd down and call it 4 yards to go from the 47-yard line.
I'm afraid too many guys might have watched that play develop instead of helped that play develop on that play.
That has been one of the problems the Cardinals have seen all season long, is just once you're out of the play, not getting back into the play and just watching and not reacting. And that's been something that they've tried to work on, they've tried to build on, and they still have work to do left on that. So come up to the line of scrimmage again, 3rd down and 5 officially. Adams in the pistol, Farnes behind him, 2 wideouts to each side. DECLO looks to bring 4. No full blitz as they're going to throw this one down the field. Myers is open, pulls in the pass at the 15, pushed down at the 12, and it's going to be a completed pass. Call that one a gain of 35 on that passing play. 56-yard pass, 1st and 10 at the 12. Soda Springs with the football. And the clock winds with 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go. 4th reception and 50 yards receiving now for for Tanner Myers. 56 yards passing for Devin Adams. He'll be in the pistol formation once again inside the red zone for the 3rd time today are the Cardinals. Adams hands this one off to Farnes, straight up the gut, gains a good 4 yards up to the 8-yard line, and Farnes continues to have his decent game running, 7 carries for 25 yards. And the clock winds down with 5:42 to go. And see if the Cardinals can punch the ball in here. And again, this is a little bit, the JV team for DECLO, as you said, Ben, not necessarily a bad team.
No, it's just, it's a lot of juniors is what it is. It's not freshmen and sophomores still.
So Adams takes another snap. He's going to throw this one out. It's going to be picked off. Duncan pulls this one in. He's got the sideline to go down. Sprints to the 30. The 40 gets finally wrapped up at the 45 and taken out of bounds. And I believe that was Farnes on the tackle on the outside. And the Cardinals with their 3rd interception. That was a great play by Duncan, though, in the passing lane. Popped the ball up and was able to pull it into his own hands.
Well, and that is a freshman. And that is a freshman you don't see come along every day. I think that kid, I don't know how he can develop a lot more, but if he does, he's Division I talent. ISU better sign him while he's here.
57-7. Duncan also with a touchdown on the offensive end receiving. It's going to be a handoff to the near side. Good blocking out in front and getting about 5 yards now. 2nd effort gets Darrington a
21.
Good gain of 8 yards as Darrington gets himself his 2nd carry to 9 yards now on the game. And it brings up a 2nd down and 2 yards to go. A flag is out on the field. And this one looks like it's going to be coming back. Garrett Darrington, a 5'10" sophomore for DECLO and the Hornets.
Maybe there's more of these kids that are sophomores and freshmen than I thought was, but they're very talented.
That's a team. They have a program that's built up and developed over at DECLO for the Hornets, as it is going to be a holding penalty against DECLO. It'll be a 9-yard penalty, their 5th penalty, and puts them to 46 penalty yards on the night now. 57-7, Cardinals down by 50. DECLO with the ball, 1st down and 19 to go for the Hornets. They'll come back up to the line of scrimmage. Black uniforms, black helmets, white numbers on those uniforms, and in a wing T formation. They're going to put a man into motion, left to right, across to the right side. It's going to be taken, and a reverse is going to be handed off to that fullback and going nowhere. Finally wrapped up by Mumford. I believe Hunter Olson gets no yardage on that carry, and maybe they're going to mark him forward to a yard up ahead to the 42, or the 37, I should say. Excuse me. So maybe a yard. Give him 10 yards now on the night. 4:30 to go. Clock continues to wind here. 3rd quarter of play, 57-7. And DECLO again comes back up to the line of scrimmage. Still that wing T. Not looking to pass the ball off here as Schroeder takes a snap. He hands this one off. It's going to be that reverse, giving the ball off to number 18. That's Nathan Duke. He's got blockers in front. He's going to gain almost all of it back. Call it a 19-yard run to the 45-yard line of Soda Springs. And on the first carry for the Duke, he gets a 1st down for DECLO and the Hornets. And that was just the Cardinals, everyone overcommitted to the near side, and they went to that fullback bite or to that pitch play and didn't catch the wide back coming around on the reverse.
Well, and I missed a lot of that play, but if I don't watch it live, I can't tell in this little viewer finder where the ball went.
57-7. Again, as I said, the score here is they're going to hand this ball off once again, and spinning forward across the 35 to the 33-yard line. Hunter Olsen with another carry for 12 yards that time, and all of a sudden you're starting to see momentum getting gathered by DECLO and the Hornets by their JV squad. And checking into the match is going to be Trey Ramsey. Coming to the sidelines onto the bench, Kyle Hansen. DECLO marches forward once again. And still in that wing tee offset to the right side. They'll take the snap. Schroeder hands this one off once again to Olsen, spins his way out of one tackle and gets up ahead to the 30-yard line, across to the 29-yard line. Call it a gain there of 4 yards. And it brings up a 2nd down and 6 to go with 3:17 to go in the third quarter. Back out of the game is Ramsey. Back into the game goes Kyle Hansen. And DECLO will once again call a play and come up to the line of scrimmage. The Cardinals defense not looking too tired, hands not really on their hips at all. They don't look too gassed at this point in time, but still trying to play hard as some of the JVers out there for them. It's going to be another handoff up the gut. Olsen fighting forward. A lot of fight in this kid, and he goes all the way up ahead to the 20-yard line, a 9-yard carry. Olsen with 6 carries and 35 yards in limited time here in the second half of play. Makes it 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Another trip into the red zone for DECLO and the Hornets as they look to keep their drives pushing forward. Again, next week we still are waiting to determine who we're going to go broadcast, but most likely we're going to be carrying Cary and North Gem in a rematch of that match, another rematch from a regular season game as DECLO snaps the ball once again. And this one's going to be taken forward to the 15-yard line. Another carry forward by Garrett Darrington of 5 yards to get him 14 now on the game. And with the clock continues to wind down, it'll be under 2 minutes by the time the Hornets snap off their next play, as they're really starting to take their time here now in the back half of this game. Up 57-7 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. They'll come up under center again. Schroeder, the wing tee, takes the ball, pitches this one out. It's going to be Olsen taking a good block up in front of him, trying to get to the edge of the end zone, gets to the pylon and dives in. No, they're going to mark him out at the probably call it the foot line out there on the field. And
penalty though here on the 10-yard line.
If it stands, it'll be a 15-yard carry.
Holding. And
it is going to be a block in the back on DECLO, so this one's going to come backwards by another 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and it'll make it 2nd down and 10 to go from the 20-yard line, I believe. And overall, it ends up costing DECLO 20 yards, as they'll mark that one back at the 19-yard line. So 2nd down and 9 yards to go. Brings up 2nd and 9, 1:42 to go here. And the DECLO Hornets again come up to the line of scrimmage. Schroeder takes a snap, fakes a handoff to the fullback. He's going to hand this one on an end around, taking his Darrington. Cuts up ahead across the 10-yard line, spins inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. A 12-yard carry for Darrington on his 4th of the game. And it gets them inside the 10 with 7 yards to go until they get into the end zone again. And Soda Springs, you have to stand strong here right now if you're a defense, because you don't want to see that score go up any more on you, because at that point in time, DECLO scores more points than they scored the first time you played them. They'll hand this ball off. A pitch play on the outside. Kicking this one is going to be Olsen. Jogs into the end zone as he gets to the pylon on the far side before anyone else. And a 7-yard run is going to get him 42 yards on the night. Another touchdown. Another different player with a touchdown. That's 7 different players for DECLO and the Hornets who have scored on the 8 touchdowns that they've put onto the board. 9 touchdowns, that they put onto the board, up 63-7 now. And the PAT upcoming. Schroeder looking to put this one up once again. Hold is good. Kick is up and good. Off the upright and bounced in. And a maybe a little bit of luck there, but it stays 64-7 now. The Cardinals trailing to DECLO and the Hornets. We'll take a break, come back with more here in quarter number 3 with 1 minute and 11 seconds to go on KBRV 800 The Bear with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
MyLocalRadio.com is Southwest Wyoming and Northeast Utah's top website and the best source for local area news, weather, sports, and community events. And that's not all. MyLocalRadio.com features thousands of photographs of Wyoming and Utah high school events, from speech and drama competitions to local events, sports and activities, and much more. Check it out today and see what MyLocalRadio.com has for you.
Welcome back out to HOYT Arena, the home of the Idaho State Bengals. Right now, the DECLO Hornets and the Soda Springs Cardinals taken to the field here. It's 64-7 now. The DECLO Hornets on top of Soda Springs, and the Cardinals looking to try and work their way into the next round of the playoffs, and it has definitely not been the Cardinals' day here on the road. As another 3C Grill and Grace kickoff coming your way as DECLO gets set to send this one down and deep, and this one is going to be kicked deep. Back at the 10-yard line, it's going to be fumbled by Tanner Myers. Picks this one up, fakes pitching it to Mumford. Now comes up the near sideline, has a little bit of a seam, gets to the 30-yard line before he's manhandled to the ground. Taking him down on the hit is number 19 of DECLO and the Hornets.
Let's see, I got him as Richard Robertson.
So Richard Robinson gets his first tackle.
Sophomore.
And again, another young player for these DECLO Hornets coming out onto the field and making an impact. And with 1:02 left to go here in the third quarter of play, the Cardinals will again send their offense back out onto the field of play. We'll see what they have lined up to try and push forward here as they're going to give this ball off to Adams. He holds onto it himself, runs around the left edge, has a little bit of room, has a first down and more, down the sideline, and finally taken down at the 42-yard line of DECLO and the Hornets. It's a 27-yard run by Devin Adams, just taking that far side corner, and he gets up to 68 yards on the game now. 64-7. Clock winds, and the Cardinals offense will again take to the field and look to try and march forward. 40 seconds to go. Clock continues to wind here at the field in HOYT Arena. I would tell you what it is, but I can't really read the script writing that they put down there. As Myers is going to go into motion, it's going to be a handoff to Tanner Myers around that same left edge, takes a gut up the middle, has room, cuts it back to the middle of the field. He's going to be into the end zone. There's a flag on the play. This one probably cutting back, but Tanner Myers able to sprint his way into the end zone, and it is going to be a hold against the Cardinals that's going to cost them from the spot of the foul 12 yards.
And if I do say so myself, unfortunately, that was the correct call.
And unfortunately, even more unfortunately for the Cardinals, it was a holding penalty that didn't really affect the final outcome of that play. As by the time it happened, it had already ended up cutting around to the outside. So it moves the ball back to the 46-yard line. And it'll be first down and 22 for the Soda Springs Cardinals now. Need to get the ball up to the DECLO 32-yard line. Adams in that pistol formation once again, takes a snap a little bit high, but he's going to give the handoff. No, fakes it, pulls it back down to himself. He's pulled down in the backfield, and he goes for a loss of 5 on the play, taken down at the 40-yard line. We'll see where they give him forward progression to. And they're going to mark him at the 40 on the dot, as that is his 9th carry, and it goes as a loss of 6 and makes it second down and 28 yards to go now.
It's the end of the quarter.
And that will wrap up the third quarter. Another break coming up here as the Cardinals find themselves trailing big to DECLO and the Hornets in the play-in round of the 2A state playoffs, down 64-7 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. Back here after this on KBRV 800 The Bear with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
There has never been a better time to convert to natural gas. Even in the summer months, natural gas is worth asking for. Rage Plumbing and Heating in Soda Springs will replace your furnace that caused you problems this winter with a new natural gas furnace, or even install a natural gas water heater to keep your water hot. Plus, Reed's can add a water softener to your home. And if you want to cool things down, Reed's Plumbing and Heating will install an energy-efficient Lennox air conditioner. All at Reed's Plumbing and Heating, 180 South 3rd Street, Soda Springs.
One stop and get everything on your list. Gas, groceries, fresh deli items, lottery tickets, and all your fish and game licenses. Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs is locally owned and open 7 days a week. You can check the daily lunch specials every Monday through Friday on the Patterson Quick Stop Facebook page. When you need it quick, get it at Patterson Quick Stop in Soda Springs, 111 North Hooper. Go Cardinals!
First play right off the bat here on the home of the DECLO Hornets as a quick bubble screen to the near side. Goes for a 5-yard gain to Morgan Steele on the 20th passing attempt by Devin Adams. Morgan Steele gets his first reception of the game, and it makes it a 3rd down and 23 to go from the 45-yard line of Soda Springs, and the Cardinals clock winds at 11 minutes and 35 seconds to go. Cardinals trot up to the line of scrimmage. Near side, Morgan Steele will stand. Far side, Tanner Myers. Snap is a little bit high. Adams pulls it in. Blitz into his face. Doesn't give him time to throw the screen pass. Finds Farnes anyways, who's going to roll his way forward and be hit down at the 46-yard line. A 9-yard passing catch for the Soda Springs Cardinals on a ball that I thought had no chance at getting to Farnes. It was squozing in. And on the 21st passing play, the Soda Springs Cardinals will move it forward. Another penalty on the play, and we'll see what the call is, and that's going to be against the Cardinals, I believe, an illegal shift. Or no, an illegal man downfield on the screen passes. A lineman went too far down the field before Adams threw the ball, which can happen on a screen play like that. So it'll be 3rd down and very long, or 4th down and about 13 yards, depending on what DECLO decides to do here. If you're DECLO, the smart play you would think would be to decline the penalty and get the ball back on a punt from the Cardinals or force them to go for it on 4th down. See what the call is by the official. Comes to the near side. And it is going to be declined. So the Cardinals will take the ball over at the 46-yard line with 4th down and 14 yards to go. We'll see what Soda decides to do on this one, whether they punt it or try and go for it, or maybe try a fake punt once again, which they've tried already once so far tonight. Just missed it on a pass over the head of Devin Adams. Myers, snap is rolled to him. It's going to be that fake punt. Myers is going to roll out to the right side, trying to get to the edge. He gets to the edge, tiptoes the sideline, avoids another tackle, has the 1st down, and finally taken down at the 27. Down on the field is a Cardinal back at the 40-yard line. It goes as a 21-yard run for Soda Springs, or a 19-yard run, for Soda Springs by Tanner Myers.
Boy, he had to tippy-toe to get through there, didn't he?
That he did, and again, give him some credit for spinning his way around.
High.
And another Cardinal down on the far side at the 27-yard line. So 2 Cardinals down on the play. One got up and was able to get to the sidelines. Another one is going to get up and be helped off to the sidelines. But on 4th down, the Cardinals move the chains.
That was Tanner himself. He must have got hit somewhere. He didn't want to be hit there at the end, or trying to make that extra move. Must have got something.
And he got taken down from behind hard, so maybe something even just as simple as having the wind knocked out of him.
Right. Sorry I cut you off a minute ago, too.
Oh, you're fine. It happens. It's part of broadcasting. 10:43. Clock continues to wind its way down. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Adams again back in that pistol, stands at the 32-yard line. Running back behind him. Snap well over his head. Once again, he's going to have to track this one down. Picks it up. He's going to try and run with it. Tries to throw it all the way upfield. Has a man. It's going to be, do they call it a completion, or was he out of bounds? Actually better for the Cardinals that he was out of bounds. Dylan Farnes pulled it in, or excuse me, is that Grant Clegg who pulled it in?
I think it's Grant Clegg, yes.
And again, it's going to end up being a benefit to the Cardinals that it was out of bounds and not a completion, as it puts them back up 7 yards further. But smart play by Adams, finding a receiver, anyone he could throw the ball to.
Well, and a good job by Clegg, too, to get there, to be open and to not give up on the play and help his quarterback out.
So a good job all around. Awareness by the Cardinals. They've shown, again, a lot of bright spots in this game. 64-7, they trail, but definitely some building blocks for next year's team as Adams sends a man into motion. That's going to be Myers across the formation. They're going to hand it off. It's going to be Farnes. Handoff straight up the gut. He's going to get back to the line of scrimmage for no gain. And that'll keep the clock winding at 10 minutes and 12 seconds to go. 7:38. The next game that was supposed to be held here is actually delayed right now at this point in time, as it was supposed to start in about 15 minutes. Or excuse me, about 45 minutes from the end of this last game, which was scheduled for 7:30.
I was going to say, not a lot of people showing up yet if it starts in 15 minutes. And I imagine Century will have quite a following.
64-7. Another man goes into motion for the Cardinals. Adams looking to pass, floats one to the near side, too far over the head of Morgan Steele. And Adams once again drops his head down into his hands as he knew that was another pass. That's a touch pass that you have to get onto the same sync with your receiver and complete that.
That's so hard, though. You know, I guess the old adage is, if it's easy, anybody do it, right? That's hard to throw them touch passes and then fire one in the next time and to make all the right reads. And boy, for a high school kid that's a lot to ask.
It is, and Adams, to his credit, has bounced back well from the misplayed passes that he's had, and he's had a couple of very nice passes and very nice receptions by some of his receivers tonight, but just not enough on the night, and 3 interceptions, a season high for Devin Adams here in the final game of the year. 9 minutes, 39.
They're lining up to kick, huh?
And they're going to try the field goal here on 4th down and 10 from the 32-yard line. It'll be a 42-yard attempt for Devin Adams. As the snap is good, hold is good, kick is up, and it had the distance as it hit the netting, but just to the wide right by about 5 yards to the far side. And Adams, again, showing off he has some leg, but just not enough distance there.
Good try. And the other good thing with the way the high school football rules go, it also gave you 10 yards like a punt on that because they mark it at the 20 instead of the original line of scrimmage.
So it'll be 80 yards to go for DECLO and the Hornets with 9 minutes and 35 seconds on the big scoreboards here. 64-7 on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. DECLO again will run out with Schroeder as their backup quarterback. He's got a passing touchdown in this game. And he actually, because of his PATs, might actually be the leading scorer at this point for DECLO and the Hornets. I was just thinking about that because he's got
9 touchdowns or 8 touchdowns. What is it? Yeah, 9 touchdowns, right?
5 PATs, 6 PATs, with 1 being blocked and 2 two-point conversions. This is a double reverse all the way out to the far side of the field. Coming up with this football, Kyle Hansen is going to go to the far sideline, taken out of bounds. We'll see where they mark him out. They'll mark him at the 24-yard line on his first carry of the night for 4 yards. So he's got 6 points there, 12 points. So he is tied with 2 other members. Braxton Webb is the leader with 14 total points, but he is, if he throws another touchdown or gets into the touchdown on his own, he's going to become the leader of their team in points this week and in this game, and he's going to have done it as one of the younger members of the team, as only a sophomore. As another handoff comes to the near side, this one's going to be spun upfield and being taken down short of the first down marker at the 29-yard line. I missed who carried that football. I believe it was Brian Reels is who they say it is.
Guess we'll take their word for it.
That is number 17 on the roster.
You found him, yep.
It took me a while. They're going deep onto a bench, a 5-yard carry, 3rd down and 1 upcoming for DECLO with 8 minutes and 49 seconds to go. Schroeder again under center, takes a snap, hands this ball off around the far side. It's going to be another carry for Rios, who falls forward to the 34-yard line, another 5-yard gain. And the yardage continues to pile up for DECLO and the Hornets. With 8:40 to go, clock stops for them to move the chains.
I believe they run the clock in a mercy clock all the time, but I believe in the playoffs they don't do that. Isn't that correct?
That's what I've got to assume at this point in time.
There really is no mercy clock. And You know, that's what happens when you get into the playoffs in these first-round matchups. You know, a couple years ago, well, several years ago now, Soda was able to beat the number 1 team from this district, but not tonight.
8:25, clock continues to wind after the running play. They'll hand this one off to the fullback, and being taken down after a short gain is going to be Darrington. A holding penalty is going to come out as a late flag flies out, and I believe they're going to get Jared Gentry with a holding penalty in the backfield for DECLO and the Hornets. The Cardinals are going to watch as that ball gets moved back, I believe 11 yards, as it was at the 34-yard line that the flag flew out and the ball was up to the 35. It is holding, and it is going to move DECLO back if Soda decides to accept it, as they'll talk to the captain of the defense. And that will make it first down and call it 21 yards to go, as it'll move them all the way back to the 24-yard line. So another penalty, 11 yards this time, 67 yards in penalties on DECLO on 7 penalties. So DECLO has been and for the Cardinals on the other side of that, only 3 penalties for 32 yards. So a very good game for the Cardinals as far as their penalties are concerned compared to what they've been doing. Another bright spot.
And remember what happened in DECLO.
Over 100 yards of penalties in DECLO. Another handoff to Rios off the left sideline. He's got room. He's got the sideline, got the first down across midfield and pushed forward and down across the 40-yard line. They mark him at the 36-yard line.
You know, you don't teach that either. When he was about to be hit, he dropped his shoulders and he dove forward to make sure and continue to move forward instead of just stepping out of bounds or getting bumped up right out of bounds. You know, he would have been laying the hit there. I think he was, like you said, either tripped up a little bit or pushed from behind. But that was him dropping his shoulders, too, to make sure he fell forward, too.
And I do think he was pushed from behind, and that's a good job by the Cardinals in reacting and being able to get that extra little bit of a push. A 39-yard run in the end. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. It's run around to the near side and fighting and struggling his way forward to gain anything at all on that play is going to be the 62. Big body of 62. That's Luis Esquivel in his first carry of the night. And it goes for a gain of 4 yards. Twelve different DECLO Hornets now with rushing yards tonight, and 7 different DECLO Hornets with receptions tonight. As Schroeder again goes under 7. 7 minutes on the dot as the clock winds under that. It's going to be a handoff to that fullback, and Esquivel is going to fight his way forward near another first down across the 30-yard line to the 28-yard line. And it's going to be, I believe, just about a half yard short after the 6-yard carry. So call it a 5-yard carry. 9 yards now for Esquivel. It's 3rd down and 1 yard to go. 64-7 still. Clock winds under 6.5 minutes to go as DECLO again lines up to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a snap to Schroeder. Handoff to Rio. Goes in behind his blockers. Has a room around the edge, and a big block comes around the corner and diving forward into the end zone with a 28-yard touchdown run is Rios for the first score of the 4th quarter for either team. And it puts it over 70 points on the board for DECLO. As Rios gets them up 70-7. And it will be a PAT coming up for DECLO and the Hornets.
Another example there of how he was going to get in there and lowered his shoulders, and he was going to dive for it. He wasn't going to be denied there.
And great blocking as well by Kyle Hansen, who got a pancake block on one of them and then cleared the way with the final block at the end zone.
I think he gives up about 100 pounds, old Kelby John does, though, to him. Maybe 150, I'm not sure which.
70-7, another offensive or defensive penalty on the Cardinals on the PAT is going to move the ball forward. And DECLO is just going to try and re-kick this one. They declined the penalty, so they'll just reset their offensive formation. Or the PAT formation, I should say. Good snap, good hold this time. Kick is up, and another point onto the board for Schroeder, as another PAT is good. He's got 13 total points now on the night. And again, with 6:18 to go, it is 71-7. The Cardinals trailing by 64 points to DECLO and the Hornets. We'll take another break, come back with a resumption of this one in the fourth quarter with the score out of reach for the Cardinals, but they're still fighting hard on the field on KBRV 800 The Bear with live video streaming online at mylocalradio.com.
How'd I do?
You'll get better. Tim can't wait to be a real driver. But for now, he's king of the online track thanks to Silver Star Communications high-speed internet. Reliable, consistent speeds give him the edge against players anywhere, even the other end of the couch.
Whoa. You'll get better.
Visit silverstar.com to learn more.
Welcome back out to Holt Arena. Caleb Berggraf here alongside Ben Jacobson, and the Cardinals getting set to receive their 10th kickoff of the night, 71-7. They trail DECLO and the Hornets. And it's going to be Schroeder to kick the ball off this time to Soda Springs. Another 3C Grill and Grace kickoff brought to you by the 3C Grill and Grace. Burgers, pizza, and barbecue. And don't forget, they cater as well. 71-7, and Schroeder lines himself up at the 30-yard line, takes 2 steps to his left, and will get set to send this one deep to Soda Springs. Back to receive Tanner Myers as well as Mumford. And the ball is going to be kicked towards Mumford. Myers is going to come up and pick this one up at the 35-yard line, goes through the wall, gets some good field, gives a stiff arm at the 50, breaks feet, and it's going to be Schroeder finally taking him down inside the 30-yard line at the 27-yard line of DECLO and the Hornets.
I feel Tanner Myers has some pretty good wills, but there's a good example to show you that they got guys still sitting on their JV end of it that can run him down if they have to. They're an exceptional team, and they will be good for a couple of years at least here, maybe 4.
And this is a team that, again, could win the state championship this year, and if they do, it'll be 3 out of 4 years. And they could possibly, as you said, go 4 out of 5 and maybe 5 out of 6 years winning a state title.
I predicted they'd win everything by 2 scores, and I really believe that, so I'm really an Aberdeen fan next week.
6:08 to go. Ball's going to be flipped out to the near side, picked up by Christopher Lloyd, taken down after a quick 1-yard gain. Thought I saw a flag come out late, but instead it was a shoe.
Them yellow shoes are hard to, they're deceiving, aren't they?
I thought it's exactly what I thought it was, as it just kind of flashed up into my eyesight and ends up looking like a flag, but either way it'll be 2nd down and 9 to go, and I believe Aberdeen does not play till
they play 7 o'clock.
They play
right?
Firth tonight now, and then they would play the winner of St. Mary's and New Plymouth. It's actually Bear Lake or West Jefferson that would take on DECLO in the next round.
Yep, you're right. I didn't realize that.
So the semifinal matchup could be Aberdeen and DECLO, very possibly, as this ball is going to be taken on a run up the middle. Farnes tiptoeing his way forward. And excuse me, that is Myers with the carry all the way up to the 9-yard line. It's a 15-yard gain for the Soda Springs Cardinals. Actually call it 17 yards from the 26-yard line.
They'd play Aberdeen in week 3 if that continued, wouldn't they?
They would, and that's going to be a tough matchup for Aberdeen with St. Mary's coming up too. So Aberdeen's got their work cut out for them. But again, Aberdeen, a very good team, undefeated on the season. 5:02. Clock winds. Adams takes a snap, quarterback draw. He's going to take this one up the gut, sidesteps a man, but he's lost his balance at the 6-yard line. A 3-yard gain for Adams on his 10th carry gives him 65 yards tonight. And it puts the score at 2nd down and 6 to go.
Well, hopefully I'm a Bear Lake fan then next week.
Always want District 5 to show well, too, because the better your district shows, the better that it shows that the talent that you're in. And District 5, one of the better districts in the state of Idaho right now.
I feel that if you win the 5th district, you're very, very well prepared to play anybody.
And if you come in 2nd in the 5th district, the same goes.
Yep.
As Adams in that pistol again, 2nd down and 6 yards to go, trying to get it into the end zone, rolls out to his right, has pressure, flips it across his body, skips it off the ground, trying to complete that pass. I believe that was Grant Clegg, the intended receiver.
I'd like to see Grant get a hold of that. He's definitely one of them seniors that has just done a lot of work for not a lot of huss and fuss, and he's just a good kid. Good football player we've had in our program. Appreciate his effort.
Put it to 4-10 on the board. left to go. 3rd down and 6 to go to get into the end zone. As Chris Lloyd runs across the formation, he'll hand off to Dylan Farnes, who's going to be taken down in the backfield for a loss of 2. And it goes to 71-7, the 4th down and 8. We'll see if the Cardinals decide to go for another field goal attempt here, or if they decide to just go for it and try and put it into the end zone. Either one, it's not really going to affect the final score on this one. As Coach Garbutt and
I think you might as well try for the end zone here. You know, what does it matter?
And that looks to be what the Cardinals are going to end up doing. 3 minutes and 34 seconds to go as Adams has a quick word with Farnes in the backfield before they line up behind center. Right on the hash marks, far side, 8-yard line. Man goes into motion, that's Myers. Snap goes to Adams. He looks over towards Myers, now looks back in the middle of the field, ducks out of some pressure, tries to fight his way out of it, flips it up ahead. Farnes takes the ball, but it's going to go for no gain, or for a short gain of 4 yards up to the 4-yard line. The ball just came squirting out of a pile of DECLO Hornets, and it was Adams trying to find his running back. Great heads-up awareness, but not enough to try and move the chains.
You can't tell me that kid's not fighting and giving everything he's got on that play. How in the world did he get that ball flipped forward? He was wrapped up by 3 people and still was able to flick that forward somehow. And Farnes grabbed it and turned upfield, and there's still a guy defending. How in the world? That's unreal, I'll tell you what.
People continue to file in a little bit more and more for the next game that's coming up. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 4-yard line for DECLO and the Hornets as they're going to line up in that wing tee at their own 3, Snap is going to go to Schroeder. He's going to hand this ball off and take it forward before being taken down. That is Darrington on the run. And it goes for a gain of, call it, 7 yards. Dakota Bivey with the tackle.
As weird as it sounds, for the viewers who didn't watch that other DECLO game, I really do feel that we still have played better tonight. You take away, those long passes. Defensively, we've done some good things.
And I agree with you. It's been a lot of one-and-done drives for DECLO in this game with those big passes that you mentioned. As another drive-by and carry by Darrington gains them 6 yards. That's going to be a 1st down, and the clock goes under 2 minutes and 35 as soon as it starts up once they set the ball.
And you got to remember, too, we're short 3 kids. Ridge Thompson's not playing in this game. We talked about Branson Steiner not being in this game. I forget the other one, but I think there's one more as well.
Up under center, Schroeder takes a snap, gives this one off to Rios, who has a touchdown around that left edge. He'll go around the left edge again, has 5 yards on the carry, moves up ahead to the 25-yard line. Ball's out on the ground. I believe they're going to mark him down, though, and it'll be for a 1st down carry of 10 yards up to the 26-yard line. So Rios continues to have his good game, and he gets up to 59 yards on 4 carries. As I believe DECLO is going to end up having over 300 yards on the ground in this game. If I believe my math is right, we'll have to total that up in the postgame show to go with their 295 passing yards. 71-7 again on the Gate City Real Estate scoreboard. 1st and 10, clock under 2 minutes. All DECLO has to do is just take a knee if they wanted to. They're going to hand this ball off, and it's going to be Esquivel who is going to take the ball straight up the gut. And Esquivel, as he is going to gain 6 yards on that carry. Gives him 15 yards on the night. In a minute 32, clock will continue to wind, and we'll see what the Hornets decide to come up with here. Again, with the amount of time left, no need to necessarily run any more rushing plays. Could walk into this one without getting anybody hurt at all. They'll come up in that wing tee, offset to the near side with a power formation to the near side. They're going to fake the handoff, give it to Rios again on an outside run. He'll have the 1st down across the 37, give him 4 yards on the carry. Give him 63 now on the night. And the clock will stop as they move the chains with 1 minute and 4 seconds left to go. This means basketball season's right around the corner for Soda Springs and the Cardinals. We'll be covering all your basketball games, too, here on KBRV 800 The Bear and online at mylocalradio.com. As a snap is going to be taken again to the near side. Esquivel is going to cut it upfield across the 40, spins up ahead even more to the 43-yard line. And they'll mark him at the 44 after the end of the run. It ends up going as a gain of 7 on that carry. And with under 40 seconds left to go, there's an injured player on the field for the Soda Springs Cardinals, and they're going to bring out more people. Not sure who that is. I can't catch a number as he's on his back and looks to be in some pain. And while we watch that, hopefully, again, nothing too bad on the field for the Soda Springs Cardinals, but I'll keep going with what we're talking about with basketball is the Soda Springs girls basketball team looking to defend their state championship is going to be coming out. Our first game for them, I believe, and do not take my absolute hard truth word on this, as actually I can pull up their schedule that we're going to be broadcasting, as Devin Adams is the one who's being taken off the field. And I thought I was going to be able to find the athletic schedule for winter sports as the ball moves up ahead to the 44-yard line. As I said, November 13th, our first basketball broadcast. That'll be the Grace girls taking on Bear Lake. November 17th, the first Soda Springs basketball broadcast, as the Soda Springs ladies will be taken to the court against American Falls to look to, again, defend their state championship title. DECLO comes up to the line of scrimmage. This time it looks like they're going to be in that victory formation. No, they are going to hand it off again. Rios to the outside. Takes it up ahead, has another first down, bounces off a tackle, cuts up ahead even further to the 48-yard line of Soda Springs, and that should be enough to wrap this game up after that 8-yard carry. Or excuse me, that is a 9-yard carry for him. For 72 yards on the game now here in this opening round of the district tournament. And with 10 seconds on the clock, DECLO is going to head to the sidelines. That's going to wrap things up for us here. Stick around. We'll have our post-game show coming up on KBRV 800 The Bear with live streaming video online at mylocalradio.com. Final score of this one, 71-7. The Cardinals drop it to DECLO and the Hornets. Back with more on KBRV 800 The Bear after this on your home for Soda Springs football.
Here are your Lalaton's food specials for the week of October 29th through November 4th. It's meat on the menu at Lalaton's as it's the whole hog sale. Pork boneless country style ribs $1.49 a pound. St. Louis style spare ribs $2.99 a pound. And don't forget about the pork loin chops at $1.29 a pound, or get T-bone or ribeye pork chops at $1.99 a pound. It's the whole hog sale at Lalaton's in Soda Springs.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
There's an organization in southeast Idaho whose wildlife conservation efforts have been commended by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Idaho Fish and Wildlife Foundation, and the North American Moose Foundation. Who is this organization? It's Monsanto. While Monsanto is honored by the recognition they receive, their ongoing dedication to the environment is its own reward for all of us. Monsanto. Imagine.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Back out at HOYT Arena, Caleb Berggraf here as we look into our game recap. Final score of this one, the Soda Springs Cardinals get dropped by DECLO and the Hornets. 71-7 is the final score, and Ben Jacobson here as our final little wrap-up of this game before we go into our updates of tonight's broadcast with Grace and the Grizzlies and North Gem and the Cowboys. And right now you look at the yardages in this one. We just tallied them all up. 387 rushing yards on the ground for DECLO and the Hornets. As I didn't tally how many carries they got it on, but probably somewhere around the range of 35, 40 carries on the night. 295 yards in the air, for 682 total yards tonight for DECLO and the Hornets against Soda Springs and the Cardinals. And if you're Soda Springs and the Cardinals, not much you can say to that other than the fact you tip your caps to DECLO and you say we had our bright moments, we had our good spots. Again, the big thing you look at, though, on all that is just a lot of that came on big plays and one-and-done drives in the passing game early on in that first half.
Yeah, and 700 yards of offense given up and 70 points. That's tough. But it's how do you say it? It's a tough year. It's a 1-7 season. It's a 1-8 season now, but kids got to come in and play like we talked at halftime. I don't know how many were listening then, but you look to build some things at that point and try and gain on that, and we need to get in the weight room this summer. Need to focus on that and get stronger. That would help us with injuries, I think, and building for the future. I was impressed. These DECLO kids are a good team. We might be very well have played the best team in the state of Idaho twice, and let's wait and see what happens, of course. And I'm not giving them the trophy right now or anything, but they're a team that's as much in the running as anybody. I'll root for Aberdeen. I'll root for those guys like that. In fact, I'm always one that kind of roots for David when he's playing Goliath. So in my mind, I'll be rooting against DECLO, like I said, every week. Because they're not going to go away either in the next couple of years. They're here for at least 4. That running back, that number 2, if you see him in person, he's a big dude. He really is. He's been in the weight room as a freshman. He's 6'1". He's 185 pounds, and boy, he's fast to boot. So what Soda's got to do is take care of themselves after playing a game like this. They got to get better in the off season. They need to put forth the perfect effort off the field and get ready to take the field again next year. I mean, next year's a whole different thing. We're outmatched right now with DECLO, but what you want to do is in 2 or 3 years get to the point where you're not, and you can't do that all at once. It's almost impossible. These guys have been lifting 2, 3, 4 years if they got a good weight program, and I know the previous coach tried very hard to get a good weightlifting program, and he put a lot of effort in, so it's not like it hasn't been there. But that being said, I don't feel like the numbers have been there like he wants. And football and wrestling, football and the weight room, those things go hand in hand. It makes kids tough. We've got a lot of kids that go and play a second sport in wrestling or in basketball, and that helps. But even some more participation there, those kids that aren't doing that would be beneficial. So those are the things that Coach Garbutt's focusing on. Those kids that don't play basketball, he's trying to get out to wrestle. And he's looking for the long haul. He wasn't planning on winning a championship and leaving this year and going somewhere else. He's planning on being in his hometown for several years.
And he wants to build a program here, and I think that's one of the things that you look at right now is it is a building progress. Any fan who thought that a new coach was going to completely turn this team around is out of their mind, to put it bluntly. You don't just turn around a program. West Jefferson was in a unique situation with what their coach was able to do and going from basically a winless team to 5-5 and making a run in the playoffs. They had a big team and a format or a group of players that fit that coach's scheme very well, perfectly for what he wanted to do. So that's why they were able to turn that around. Plus, they were in the weight room a little bit more. And I think the weight room, like you were saying, that is the biggest thing. I was even talking to my boss, Mr. Cook, Val Cook, who's the owner of these stations, who, if you ever see him around town, give him a thank you for allowing us to come out here and broadcast these games. But even he was saying, through all his years of watching sports, the biggest difference in teams that win and lose is always the weight room. And you could see it in Soda Springs, even with the Aberdeen game, for example. They were in that game for 3 quarters, 24-6, and then the 4th quarter Aberdeen took over. And that's all conditioning and what you do in the weight room to get yourself prepared.
Yeah, and one other thing, you talk about West Jeff, and I don't think it's ignorant to say to our coaches that there's 3 state championship coaches involved in that program. You got Taylor, who's won a state championship. You got Hollingsworth, who's won a state championship, and you got Richens, the AD and the superintendent or whatever his position is there, that's been involved in another 3 or 4 at Shelley and maybe add a couple in Teton. I'm not sure, but my point is, and they had a group of kids that fit their system perfectly. You know, I have seen some awesome attitude and buy-in changes this year. And I don't expect everybody to know that. That's something you only see in practice, and you only see, well, you don't see it demonstrated today. But there is some changes, some big steps forward, I feel, that have been made this year. And I've had a great time working with those kids, and the effort that they're given has been more than I could have imagined. They've done some great things, and I really appreciate them. And I know those coaches have no quit in them. You know, there wasn't any coaches that decided to quit along the way, you know, or say these kids are uncoachable, because they are coachable and they're good kids, and we've really appreciated them this year. On the JV end of it, as they turned in their pads, we kind of interviewed each one of them and told them how much we appreciated them and where we expected them to improve, and that we thought they could improve, you know, and do good things. And they were all taking notes and had their pens and papers out, and they had some goals they were setting there, and that's what you build on from here.
And I think the last thing that I'll say on all this stuff before we go to our break and get into the updates on all this is when you look at this team, you talk about the coaching staff, you have a lot of guys that are invested in this team because they came from Soda Springs and came from Soda Springs football. Scott Campbell's has been there as a defensive coordinator for 20-plus years at this point in time. You have Cliff Garbett, who came and came back to the program after he was with the program in the late 1990s. You have Coulter Evans, who was a part of one of the best Soda Springs teams that the school has had, that moved deep into the semifinals of the playoffs back when he was playing in 2007. You have Justin Steele, whose son is obviously on the team. He's invested in the team. You have
grew up here and played at one time. I think. Well, he might have played. I'm having a hard time remembering where he played now, but he grew up right in town, so I think I'm sure it was in Soda, yeah.
But you look at just those four coaches, without even going to some of the JV coaches and some of the other coaches that don't necessarily have a lot of time out there with the kids, but each one of them is invested in this program not only from a fact they want to win for themselves, but they have an alma mater to defend, and they have that to push forward from what they do. So I think the sky is the limit for this team moving forward, and a 1-7 season or 1-8 season is not what to expect from this team next year.
Well, Doug Wood and I both have wives that grew up here, so does that buy us in as well?
It
because
does,
I have no other choice of going anywhere else.
And the wife, we all know, controls what exactly goes on.
She motivates me.
In that. Because if you ain't trying your hardest, she is who you answer to.
That's right.
Well, Ben, thank you so
very much
for coming on and doing this broadcasting with us and running the camera for us.
No problem. I appreciate you letting us use that camera. It's helped our program study some film. So.
And we'll look forward to it next year. And
thank you.
Good luck to you and what you do up at the hospital. And we'll be back after this on KBRV 800 The Bear and online at mylocalradio.com.
Cattlemen have a code of ethics. Live each day with courage. Take pride in your work. Always finish what you start. Do what has to be done. Be tough but fair. When you make a promise, keep it. Ride for the brand. Talk less and say more. Remember that some things aren't for sale, and know where to draw the line. The folks at Mound Valley Cattle Company in Thatcher, Idaho are proud of the students at Grace High School, investing in the leaders of tomorrow. The Mound Valley Cattle Company, 208-339-0614.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
The rocket launched into the air.
And then crashed into the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
MyLocalRadio.com is Southwest Wyoming and Northeast Utah's top website and the best source for local area news, weather, sports, and community events. And that's not all. MyLocalRadio.com features thousands of photographs of Wyoming and Utah high school events, from speech and drama competitions to local events, sports and activities, and much more. Check it out today and see what MyLocalRadio.com has for you.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good. You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
There has never been a better time to convert to natural gas. Even in the summer months, natural gas is worth asking for. Reed's Plumbing and Heating in Soda Springs will replace your furnace that caused you problems this winter with a new natural gas furnace, or even install a natural gas water heater to keep your water hot. Plus, Reed's can add a water softener to your home. And if you want to cool things down, Reed's Plumbing and Heating will install an energy-efficient Lennox air conditioner. All at Reed's Plumbing and Heating, 180 South 3rd Street, Soda Springs.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back out to HOYT Arena. Apologize for the delay there in getting back on air on this one, but the final score of tonight's game, 71-7. Out there on the field, the Century and Wood River teams are getting ready to get into the action. 5A football as they're the second game tonight. Should be a good contest in that one as well, but for right now, we're going to go into our recaps and our updates, I should say, as North Gem took on Dietrich today, and it was a good game for North Gem and the Cowboys. Let's take a listen to what Dana Strong had to say about his squad going into that game before we talk about Grace and see how the Grace Grizzlies are doing in their matchup as well.
Caleb Burgraff with Coach Dana Strong of the North Gem football team. And Coach, playoffs are here, the playing around. You guys get Dietrich. First time that you've seen Dietrich here as a head coach for North Gem. First time North Gem's seen Dietrich in several years as well. What do you know about them, and what are you expecting from Friday night's game?
Well, I've been watching some film on them, and they're a lot like Clark. They're a fast team. They're not big, but they're efficient. They're fast, and their running back number 5 will probably be the best running back we faced all year. He's really tough and elusive, and their offenses can be a little bit confusing. For kids, you got to follow the ball and really stay with your assignments.
One of the things that comes when you play a smaller team like that is while their offense may be quicker, that means their defense is lacking some of the size. And with your team being a mainly running team, is that something you feel like you can really take advantage of?
Yeah, we're going to try to do that. We watched them play Cary, and Cary was behind on him, and Cary just went to a power football game and just overwhelmed them. And that's kind of what we're going to do. We're missing some players that would help us in that, but we have luckily we have a lot of depth. So we're going to try to power them and try to just use our size and our muscle and move the ball on them. The old 3 yards in a cloud of dust thing.
You guys get the game here at home, and how big is that in getting that first game at home in a play-in game like this?
I think it's really huge, and especially when you look at our kids still learning how to win, learning what it means to win. And winning and getting a winning culture, it doesn't come overnight. It takes time, and something we want to build here, and being at home is going to be important for us mentally.
Looking at one of the other things that you guys have to prepare for, and that's Cary in the second round. Most likely is who you're going to play unless Rockland can come up with an upset. How do you keep your kids from focusing on that Cary game and seeing that game before they see the Dietrich game?
Well, luckily Dietrich being a good team, that shouldn't be too much of a challenge. I mean, if we look past Dietrich, we're in trouble. Dietrich's going to give us all we can handle. I think Dietrich, when you look at the scores and teams they played, our scores were pretty identical to them all throughout the year. So I think they're a team that is going to be a match for us, and that the team that doesn't turn the ball over and the team that stays within their assignments is going to win the game. So yeah, it shouldn't be a challenge because of the fact that we got a big challenge in front of us.
Caleb Burgraff, Coach Strong from the North Gem football team. And Coach, when you look at your team, you talk about some of the kids that you're missing. We were talking to the fact that you don't complain about things like that when they happen to your team, but you still have to prepare around whatever happens. How do you adjust when you have so many questions in your lineup going into a playoff game?
Well, that's where the coaching has to come in all throughout the year. That's where I like to coach every kid in the team. It's not a matter of if you just coach the starters or just coach for this week. you're missing out. I'm always coaching for the future and always coaching ahead. So I'm always trying to prepare players just in case. I'm always thinking of all the different scenarios that can happen and then trying to prepare them and get them ready. So really, it's a matter of one drops down for whatever reason, you slide someone else into that slot and you just keep going. And if you've set your program and done your job as a coach, you should be able to at least have some success that way.
Final thing for you, and that's when you think about that aspect of next man up, who are some of the kids that people might not have heard much of on the varsity level that'll get some playing time and you expect big things from against Dietrich?
Dallin Lloyd, first game, he's been an end all year to last game, 260 yards rushing his first game. I expect more big things from him. And a lot of the same figures beyond that. Other than that, though, you're looking at on our line is where we're going to have some changes. Brandon Lloyd's going to be getting more time for the first time this year, but he's earned it and he's worked hard and we've been preparing him for this. Hunter Delbridge is a possibility getting out there as well and getting some time for us. But it's going to be mostly the same cast of characters in the backfield and the skill positions. But on the line, we've lost a little bit of depth. We're just lucky to have Alex Tolley back. He is so good in the offense and defensive line, and he's back now and feeling stronger from he injured himself the first game of the year. And it's just now getting really back to full strength.
Coach, as always, thank you for the time. Good luck to you guys as you get ready to take on Dietrich, and we'll hopefully have a good result coming from that game.
Thank you for all the coverage. Appreciate it.
That was head coach Dana Strong of the North Gem Cowboys as they win 52-24 against Dietrich today, which means they are going to be heading on the road to Cary. We'll see where exactly that game is going to be held and what the situation is going to be around that game. But most likely we will be going on the road with North Gem next week for an audio-only, at this point, broadcast with the audio online at mylocalradio.com as well as over the airwaves at KBR V800 The Bear. So plan for that next week. Of course, we will let you know officially what the plan is going to be next week as we continue to move on. And a lot of it depends on what Grace and the Grizzlies decide to do, as right now they're taking on Glens Ferry. We'll take a look at our update with Coach Brandon Sanchez and then give you a score update on what exactly is going on over there, as we do have one at the half as far as how the Grace Grizzlies are doing against Glens Ferry. We'll come back with that after this interview with Coach Brandon Sanchez of the Grace Grizzlies.
Caleb Burgraff joined here on a Coach's Corner with Brandon Sanchez, the coach of the Grace Grizzlies. And Coach, we got to go up there and watch you guys take on Butte County. A rough game for you guys, but I felt like your team's effort really improved as the game went on. You came out, you scored that opening touchdown. The rest of the first half had some struggles, but the second half you came out, were able to play that 0-0 draw. Did you see that too, or what were some of the things you saw during your watching of the film?
I saw that we played a team in Butte that was a dang good team. They were the team that we had played here at home. However, we had 4 turnovers. 3 of them probably could have resulted in scores because, they were inside the 15-yard line deep in their territory. And so I told our kids this, and it's nothing against Butte because Butte is a tough team, but I honestly think we beat ourselves this game. The opening kickoff, I personally thought it was a fumble. The kid's head hit first, it pops out, we recover the ball, but they give it back to them. And then the onside kick, we watched it get on film, and the kicker actually hits it twice. And so they give it to them there. And so we just had some tough breaks that we should have got but didn't, and then we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. So, we come out, we scored pretty quickly, and we drove the ball on them all night on offense, but we just could not finish. And that was the difference right there, is Butte County finished well and we didn't. So, and the second half, defensively, we played a little bit better. We held them scoreless, but on the other side of the coin, they held us scoreless too. So, it is what it is.
When you look at something like that, when you see the mistakes that the team made, does that make you nervous when your team makes mistakes like that going into the postseason? Or is that something that you feel like, okay, we got the mistakes in, we know what to look for now, and we can build on fixing those and correcting them in the playoffs?
It doesn't make me nervous. I'm more frustrated than anything because these are things that really we haven't done all year. We haven't put the ball on the ground very much. We haven't thrown too many interceptions. And so that's the frustrating piece, is in a big game like this where, we really had to win it because we didn't want to go to the coin flip. I'm not nervous. I'm just frustrated. I know the kids will step up and play ball at home a lot better. We just have to protect the ball. We've been working on penalties and trying to, not get so many of those, and we didn't have very many this last game. We just got to hold on to the ball, and I think we'll be all right.
Caleb Burgraff with Coach Sanchez from the Grace Grizzlies football team. And Coach, now you guys move into the playoffs. You got the side of the bracket that you wanted. You get to avoid Prairie, especially in that second round, and that's what what Butte County has facing them now. But on the same side, you guys still have a tough matchup in that first round with Glenns Ferry coming in here. What are your just initial thoughts on Glenns Ferry from what you know about them?
We saw Glenns Ferry at camp early in the summer, and we saw their quarterback there, and he's legit. He's a player. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. I've got some scouting reports from other coaches that I've been talking to this weekend, and every one of them say, he's pretty much the player you got to contain. They've got other players. They got another little back that's fast, and they got some other decent players. Initially, when you look at them on film, they're solid. They're a fourth seed in their conference, but they play a dang tough conference, and so we're not going to look past them at all. We know what we've got in front of us. They're going to be a tough team. They like to throw the ball. They run the ball a little bit here and there, but they try to get to the outside on you. They don't run it up the middle very much, and so those are just things that we're going to key on.
Final thing for you, and you get the home field advantage, and that brings a lot of different things into the aspect. You get the home crowd that you can bring out. The other thing it is that a lot of people don't take into effect is a lot of the teams that you're going to be playing are from a little bit lower elevations coming up to the higher elevation where the cold, the weather, how big is that going to be in what happens in Friday's game against Glenns Ferry?
Home field advantage, I don't care what. I've heard coaches say it's not that big a deal. It's absolutely huge for us. And it's like that with every team that I've ever coached. You always do better at home. We're 4-0 at home right now this season, and so we definitely want the games at home as much as we can, and we got them. We got the side of the bracket. We got the upper tier of the bracket where it says, we're going to host pretty much all the way through. And so having our home crowd there, having, the support that we're going to have is going to be big for us. We're excited to be where we're at. It's just one of those things where home field is going to be big for us. The elevation thing, it could have an effect. I told my coaches that I really hope that it rains and snows and it's ugly, because when a team like Glenns Ferry puts the ball up in the air a lot, that's not good for them, whereas we just pound the ball. We just run the ball. And so that's what happened when we played Butte here in that rainstorm that lasted all night, and it turned out well for us. So we like it that we're home. We're hoping that the weather is nasty, but if it's nice weather, we play well there too. But it's not that big a deal. We're just happy to be home. We don't have to be on the road anymore, because the last 2 road trips, we came home with losses, and so I think the kids are really excited that this first game's at home, and then if we take care of business there, the second game and so forth.
Coach, thank you as always for the time. Good luck to you guys this week on Friday, and hopefully you guys can come away with a victory.
Okay, thank you.
And right now, Grace on the road, or at home I should say, down in Grace on the road from where I am, are currently trailing Glenns Ferry at the half. Not sure what the final score from that one is going to be. We'll get that up on the air on Monday morning, though, and should be on the website on Saturday morning as soon as we get a moment to get that up and as soon as we get that final score. But final score from this one, 71-7. The Soda Springs Cardinals end up dropping it to DECLO and the Hornets. We'll take one last break, wrap things up, and get you out of this one on KBRV 800 The Bear and online with live video streaming at mylocalradio.com.
They need your help. They're overstocked with Lazy Boy and Catnapper recliners, sofas, and love seats. They'll wheel and deal right now at Sanders Furniture, Flooring, and Appliance. If you will help them make room in their showroom, they'll help you keep money in your bank account while you're enjoying high-quality, comfortable Lazy Boy and Catnapper recliners, sofas, and love seats. They need your help, and you need to save money. Wheel and deal right now at Sanders Furniture, Flooring, and Appliances on Main Street in Soda Springs.
So, I'm a dog, and I'm kind of new to this family, but I've noticed a trend. My humans do this thing where they go around and get all my toys and hide them in this basket, but it's always the same basket, and it's always the same place, and then they act so surprised when I find them, but I'm like, hello, that's where you put it last time. Humans are the worst at hide and go seek.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
It's so pretty here.
Katie's away at college.
There's the library.
But she can still be close to her mom back home. Travis is working on a big report. High-speed internet puts a world of information at his fingertips. Silver Star Communications provides connections that help students learn and keep families close, even when they're miles apart. Get your family in touch and informed with high-speed internet from Silver Star Communications. Call today or visit silverstar.com.
Back out here at Holt Arena, final wrap-up on KBRV 800 The Bear, as well as online at mylocalradio.com. Thank you to everybody who tuned into this game with us. as we'll take a final look at the stats for Soda Springs, who finished up the season 1-8 on the year after the 71-7 loss. And the rushing category, they were led by Devin Adams, 10 rushes for 65 yards. Overall, 28 carries for 139 yards on the game. Tanner Myers had 4 carries for 34 yards. Dylan Farnes, 9 carries for 23 yards on the night. Passing-wise, 11 for 25. The Cardinals went with 75 passing yards. 11 for 24 was what Devin Adams was able to put through on his passing game on the night. Tanner Myers ended up with the bigs on that category. 4 receptions for 50 yards in the game. He ended up with 1 touchdown in the game as well. A 9-yard touchdown pass from Adams to Myers. The PAT was good. That was with 1:10 left to go in the second quarter of play. DECLO really ran away with everything. Their final numbers, we talked about them, 108 yards on the ground. They were led by Braxton Webb as he ended up really taking it to him. 7 carries for 108 yards and a touchdown. Webb also did have 1 reception for 32 yards in the game and a 2-point conversion run. A touchdown also went in the game to Hunter Olsen on the ground, 42 yards on 42 yards on 7 carries and that touchdown. There was also a touchdown run that came from Rios, a 28-yard touchdown run that was able to really burst him into the scoring category on the night. That ended up giving him a lot of yardage on the night, 6 carries for 72 yards and that touchdown on the evening. Passing-wise, there were 2 receptions that went into the hands of Ezra Bailey. He had 40 yards on 2 receptions. Both of those were touchdowns. There was an 83-yard long on the night as it was Colin Carpenter pulling in that pass on a touchdown that would really ice this game over, as if it hadn't been iced over earlier on before that point in time, gave the DECLO Hornets a good chance at coming across with a victory in this game. Final numbers for them, they ended up with 387 yards on the ground, 9 for 17 passing for 295 yards and 5 touchdowns. They had 5 rushing touchdowns as well. And that wraps things up here on KBRV 800 The Bear. We will take a look and take a break and send it back to regular programming after this. I do want to remind you and thank you for tuning into this Cardinals postgame show. The proceeding has been a sports production and sports broadcast of Old West Media Incorporated and Cook Brothers Broadcasting. No portion of this production can be used or rebroadcast without express written consent of Old West Media Incorporated. Tonight's executive producer is Val Cook. I would also like to thank our sales team as well as our office manager Kim Miller and general manager Warren Cook. Thanks to all of our sponsors and to you for tuning in. Once again, the final score tonight in the final broadcast of the regular season football schedule, the Soda Springs Cardinals dropped 71-70 on the home of Cardinals football. Thank you again for tuning in. Back here with basketball coming up next on KBRV 800 The Bear, online at mylocalradio.com.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this edition of Soda Springs Cardinal Football. Be sure to visit mylocalradio.com and take a look at when the next time the boys of Soda will take the field. Until the next time the red and black take the field, let's go Cardinals!